Racing through the silent darkness of cosmic possibility,
El
something
tiranosaurio
ancient
rex,
stirs
el rey
in the depths of
indiscutible
our
del
shared
mundo de los
imagination,
dinosaurios.
something that should not exist, not anymore. For 66 million years, a singular event
Pero eso
reshaped our
podría
world,
estar a punto de
clearing the
cambiar.
path for new life, new forms, new destinies. We have always believed
Hace
we
décadas que
understood
algunos
Earth's
científicos
grand
sospechan que el
narrative, the
tiranosaurio
rise and
podría
fall
haber
of
tenido
giants,
competencia.
the quiet reign of mammals. But what if we were wrong? What if
Oculto
the
entre
great
las sombras
beasts of
aparece un
prehistory
depredador de
never
menor tamaño
truly
y más rápido al
vanished?
que llaman
Tonight we
nanotiranos.
journey into an Earth reimagined, an alternate timeline where the colossal
Pero hay
footsteps
pocas
still echo,
pruebas,
where the
y las que
roars
tenemos
of
son objeto de una
titans
gran
still
controversia.
shake the air.
En
We will
resumidas
trace
cuentas,
the
Trato
evolution of an
herbívoro.
unbroken lineage, examine the ecosystems that would thrive under their rule, and
Tenía el
investigate
tamaño de
how
un
a world
elefante
without the
africano,
K-Peach
10
extinction
toneladas de
event
puro músculo
challenges
y huesos.
fundamental assumptions about life,
Un
intelligence,
cráneo
and
armado con unos
humanity's
terribles
place in a
cuernos.
truly ancient world.
Era uno de esos
Prepare
animales a
yourselves.
los que no
And
conviene
as you
molestar
drift,
mucho.
let your mind ponder.
Hablamos de un animal con mucha desvío, con mucha agilidad,
Tonight,
como un tanque
our
muy
journey begins
maniobrable,
not with a roar,
con una buena
but with a
armadura
silence.
y sobre todo
The
una
great
cornamenta
silence of an event
impresionante
that never
que llegaría
happened.
como hasta aquí.
Imagine the year 66 million BCE. The Earth is a world of giants. The air hums with the calls of great lizards, the footsteps of long-necked titans, the flutter of immense wings. The continents are shifting, the climate is warm, and life has achieved a monumental, slow-moving balance. In the oceans, mosasaurs and plesiosaurs rule, while on land, the last of the great Cretaceous dinosaurs, tyrannosaurs, triceratops, ankylosaurs, are not a dying breed, but a thriving, enduring part of the planet's pulse. This is the world we know from our fossil records, a world in its final act. But in our imagined reality, the final act is a prelude to a story we never got to tell. High above this vibrant ancient world, a different kind of titan is hurtling through the silent void of space. This is the Chicxulub impactor, a colossal asteroid somewhere between 10 and 15 kilometers in diameter. In our timeline, its trajectory is a cosmic bullseye, a date with destiny that will end an era and begin a new one. It is a moment of profound, catastrophic violence, a punctuation mark in the very fabric of time. But for tonight, let's allow our minds to reroute its path. Let's let it pass. Perhaps a subtle gravitational nudge from a passing gas giant alters its course by just a fraction of a degree. Perhaps a small, unnoticed cosmic body strikes it millions of years earlier, sending it wobbling off its fateful line. Or maybe, in the grand cosmic lottery, this one time, Earth simply holds the winning ticket. The asteroid, a silent, dark mountain of rock, sails harmlessly through our solar system's inner orbit. It becomes nothing more than a momentary blur, against the backdrop of the star-filled sky, a footnote in the geological calendar. The dinosaurs, unaware of their near miss, continue their lives below. This simple absence of a single event has an unimaginable ripple effect. The dust cloud that would have blocked the sun, plunging the world into a nuclear winter, never forms. The tsunamis that would have devastated coastlines never crest. The volcanic activity triggered by the impact never begins. The world breathes, a collective sigh of relief that it never even knew it was holding. But this is not a story of an easy road ahead. The world of the late Cretaceous was not without its challenges. There were already slow climate shifts, ongoing volcanic eruptions in what is now India, and the gradual evolution of new life forms. But without the sudden cataclysmic shock, these changes are slow and manageable. The world does not reset, it continues. Evolution proceeds not through mass extinction and radical upheaval, but through gradual, patient adaptation. Species that would have vanished in the blink of an eye are given the chance to continue their long, slow dance with time. The great dinosaurian families, the ankylosaurids, the hadrosaurids, the ceratopsians, the tyrannosaurids, they don't fade away, they endure. And in their endurance, they shape every single moment of the next 66 million years. As the Earth continues its slow orbit around the Sun, the stage is set for a new kind of drama, one of continuity, not of collapse. The age of the dinosaurs is not over. It is just beginning its next great act. Settle in and let your mind explore the profound piece of a world that was spared. The asteroid misses, and Earth belongs to the dinosaurs. Still. And so the journey begins, not with an ending, but with a quiet, undisturbed continuation. The asteroid misses, the world doesn't end. But it's not a static portrait frozen in time. The late Cretaceous was already a world in transition, and without a catastrophic impact to reset the clock, those gradual changes would continue, shaping the destiny of the dinosaurs and every other living thing. This is a story of slow, persistent evolution, not of sudden, violent revolution. First, let's look at the climate. At the end of the Cretaceous, Earth was generally warmer than it is today, but it was already in a slow cooling phase. The supercontinent Pangaea had long since broken up, and the continents were moving toward their modern positions. The warm, humid conditions that had supported massive dinosaur populations for millions of years were beginning to give way to more temperate seasonal climates. In our timeline, the KPG impact and the subsequent impact winter accelerated this cooling process dramatically. Without it, the cooling would be far more gradual, unfolding over millions of years instead of centuries. This would allow ecosystems to adapt. Dinosaurs wouldn't suddenly face a world of ice and snow. They'd have time to evolve thicker coats of proto-feathers, adjust their nesting habits, and migrate to warmer latitudes as the climate shifted. Geography also plays a critical role. The continents are still moving. The Indian subcontinent is on a collision course with Asia, a slow-motion geological event that in our timeline created the Himalayas. That collision would still happen, raising a new, massive mountain range
con una buena
that would
armadura
fundamentally
y
alter
sobre todo
global
una
weather
cornamenta
patterns.
impresionante
The
que llegaría
Atlantic
como hasta aquí.
Ocean would continue to widen, separating the Americas from Europe and Africa. These changes would lead to new forms of speciation. Dinosaurs on newly isolated land masses would evolve in unique ways, much like the strange and wonderful creatures we see on islands today. You'd have dinosaurs in a South American ecosystem that look completely different from those in a North American one, all because the continents weren't close enough for gene flow. Think of it as a series of continental isolation chambers. Dinosaurs on what is now Australia, for example, would be completely cut off, leading to a unique lineage of avian and non-avian dinosaurs evolving in parallel to mammals on our world. Over millions of years, this would create an incredible diversity of life. The world would be a mosaic of different ecosystems, each with its own set of rules and its own dominant species. In North America, the tyrannosaurids might continue to reign as apex predators, but they'd face different prey and different climatic pressures. In South America, enormous titanosaur sauropods might continue to graze in vast open plains, their size a direct result of an evolutionary arms race with equally large predators. And in Africa, we might see the emergence of highly specialized dinosaur species adapted to a world that is slowly becoming drier and more savanna-like. The plant life, too, would continue its march. At the end of the Cretaceous, flowering plants were already becoming dominant. Without the impact to disrupt plant life evolution, the spread of grasses and other specialized flora would continue unimpeded. This would have a profound effect on herbivorous dinosaurs. Those that couldn't adapt to new food sources would die out, but those that could would thrive, perhaps even evolving new digestive systems or jaw structures to handle the tougher, more abrasive plant matter. This slow coevolution between plant and dinosaur would be the primary engine of change. Finally, consider the oceans. In our timeline, the marine reptiles like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs were wiped out by the impact. But in this world, they endure. They would continue to evolve. With new species filling new niches, the oceans would remain a world of magnificent, terrifying predators. Whales, seals, and dolphins, the great marine mammals of our world, might never have a chance to evolve into their large, intelligent forms, forever confined to the margins by the likes of neomosasaurids or superichthyosaurs. In this undisturbed world, every trend of the late Cretaceous, the cooling climate, the continental drift, the evolution of flowering plants, would continue to unfold, but at its own pace. The result is a world not of sudden, violent change, but of patient, relentless evolution. A world where the giants never leave, and every species from the smallest insect to the largest sauropod is part of a slow, grand, and uninterrupted story. With the asteroid's miss, the dominant dinosaur species of the late Cretaceous would not only survive, but also continue to diversify and fill their ecological niches into the Cenozoic era. Instead of an age of mammals, the Cenozoic becomes a prolonged age of dinosaurs. The major dinosaur groups, the formidable tyrannosaurs, the armored ankylosaurs, the horned ceratopsians, and the diverse hadrosaurs, would continue to evolve, becoming even more specialized and formidable. The hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs, would remain the dominant terrestrial herbivores in many parts of the world. With their complex dental batteries containing hundreds of teeth, they were already highly efficient at grinding tough plant material. In a world where flowering plants, angiosperms, continued to spread, hadrosaurs would likely specialize further. We might see species with even more intricate jaws for processing new types of vegetation, some perhaps evolving a more sophisticated chewing mechanism. They would essentially be the cows of the Cenozoic, grazing in vast herds across plains and forests, their sheer numbers providing a vital food source for large predators. Alongside the hadrosaurs, the ceratopsians would continue to thrive as high-browsing herbivores. Their powerful beaks and shearing teeth were perfect for stripping tough, fibrous leaves from trees and shrubs. The Triceratops lineage, in particular, was a successful one at the end of the Cretaceous, and without the extinction event, they could have given rise to an even wider variety of horned and frilled descendants. We might see species with more elaborate frills for display, or more varied horn shapes for defense and combat, adapting to new predators and rivals. Meanwhile, the ankylosaurids, the armored tanks of the dinosaur world, would maintain their niche as low-level browsers. Their heavy armor and club tails were an effective defense against even the largest predators. They would likely continue their slow, deliberate lives, with new species evolving even more elaborate or spiky armor plates as an ongoing evolutionary arms race against predators continues. The tyrannosaurids would almost certainly remain the apex predators in their ecosystems, at least in the northern hemisphere. Their powerful jaws, bone-crushing teeth, and immense size made them unmatched hunters. The Tyrannosaurus rex lineage could continue to produce ever larger, more specialized predators. Perhaps some would evolve into more slender, faster hunters, while others become even more massive and robust, specializing in tackling the largest of the herbivorous giants. Their success would keep mammalian carnivores confined to much smaller sizes, unable to compete for the largest prey. In other parts of the world, other theropod groups would also continue to dominate. The abelisaurids, for example, which were The dominant large predators in the southern hemisphere would continue their reign. These stocky, short-armed carnivores would likely evolve a variety of specialized forms to prey on the unique fauna of isolated southern continents. Perhaps the most fascinating outcome is the potential for the sauropods to make a comeback. While their diversity had declined in the late Cretaceous in some regions, giant titanosaurs still roamed. Without a mass extinction, these colossal herbivores would have had the opportunity to reclaim their former dominance. Imagine herds of 100-foot-long, multi-ton sauropods still shaking the ground in the Cenozoic, their long necks reaching for the highest leaves of the newly diversifying forests. They would occupy a niche that mammals, with their fundamentally different physiology, could never fully fill. This continued dinosaurian dominance would also have a profound impact on other groups. Large pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus would continue to rule the skies, preventing any bird or mammal from evolving into a truly large flying animal. Similarly, the oceans would still belong to the great marine reptiles like the mosasaurs, which would continue to hunt large fish and other marine life, preventing the rise of large aquatic mammals like whales and dolphins. In this world, the ecological niches are already taken, and taken by masters of their craft. There is no empty stage for mammals to fill. The slow, patient work of evolution continues, but it's a dinosaurian story with no end in sight. The reign continues, and the world remains a land of giants. In our world, the sudden disappearance of dinosaurs created vast, empty ecological niches. The great herbivores and their predators vanished, leaving a blank canvas for mammals to fill. But in this alternate reality, the canvas is already crowded. The ecological landscape is carved up and defended by dinosaurian masters. Mammalian evolution would be defined by a series of compromises, not breakthroughs. Early mammals of the late Cretaceous were already small, often no bigger than a mouse or a shrew. They survived by living in the shadows of giants. They were quick, agile, and had a high metabolic rate, allowing them to be active at night when cold-blooded dinosaurs were less energetic. This nocturnal and secretive existence would become a permanent evolutionary trap. While some dinosaurs might also evolve to be nocturnal, they would still be the dominant predators, making life a constant gamble for mammals. Instead of growing larger, mammals would have to become even smaller and faster to evade capture. Think of the modern-day elephant shrew or the tiny pygmy jerboa, creatures perfectly adapted to a life of high-stakes evasion. Mammalian body plans would become highly specialized for scuttling, burrowing, or climbing into spaces too small for a dinosaur to reach. They would be forced to exploit food sources that dinosaurs ignore. Their diet would consist primarily of insects, worms, seeds, and small, soft-bodied invertebrates. This would prevent them from evolving into larger herbivores, as the resources for a sauropod-sized mammal were already claimed by the sauropods themselves. Similarly, no carnivorous mammal would ever be able to grow to a size capable of challenging a tyrannosaur or even a velociraptor. The largest mammalian predators might be badger or ferret-sized, preying on other small animals but living in constant fear of being hunted themselves. In our world, the need to adapt to a changing environment and fill new niches drove the evolution of larger brains and greater intelligence in mammals. The pressure to find food, outsmart rivals, and raise complex social groups was a powerful evolutionary engine. But in a world of dinosaurian oppression, these pressures are absent. Instead, the primary evolutionary pressure is simply to not get eaten. Intelligence in this context would be a high-risk gamble. A larger brain requires a lot of energy, and in a world where food is scarce and competition is high, it may not be a worthwhile investment. It's more efficient to be quick and small than to be smart and vulnerable. The cognitive evolution of mammals would be stunted, leaving them in a state of arrested development. Our own primate ancestors, instead of climbing down from the trees and walking upright, might have remained small, arboreal, and highly specialized, forever confined to the forest canopy to escape ground-dwelling dinosaurs. Ultimately, the lack of a mass extinction means that mammals would never have their moment in the sun. The age of mammals would never begin. Instead, they would be forever relegated to a minor, supporting role in a play dominated by the great reptiles. The evolutionary path that led to whales, elephants, and eventually humans would be a dead end, a path not taken. This world is a perpetual late Cretaceous, a living testament to the idea that a single event can be the most important part of a story, and that without it, the history of life can be a very different
como un tanque muy
and much less
maniobrable,
familiar
con una
tale.
buena armadura
The late
y
Cretaceous
sobre
saw the
todo una
coexistence
cornamenta
of birds and
impresionante
giant
que llegaría
pterosaurs,
como hasta
with the
aquí.
latter often being the rulers of the skies. Pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus were immense, with wingspans of up to 36 feet. Their sheer size and mastery of the air would have been a massive ecological barrier for birds. In our timeline, the KPG extinction wiped out all pterosaurs, leaving the skies wide open for birds to diversify into new sizes and lifestyles. But in this alternate reality, that opportunity never arises. Instead, birds would be forever relegated to smaller niches. They would likely continue to thrive as they did in the Cretaceous, specializing in roles that didn't directly compete with their colossal, flying rivals. We would see an even greater diversity of small, quick, and agile bird species, a parallel to the way small mammals in this world would live in the shadows of larger dinosaurs. For example, we might see birds specializing in highly specific flight patterns that pterosaurs couldn't manage. They could become masters of navigating dense forest canopies, hunting insects, or specializing in the intricate maneuvers required for nectar feeding. This would prevent the evolution of large predatory birds like eagles or flightless giants, like ostriches, as the niches for large carnivores and ground-dwelling herbivores would already be occupied by dinosaurs. The largest birds would probably be no bigger than a modern turkey, and even they would live in constant fear of being preyed upon by small, non-avian theropods. On the ground, the situation would be even more challenging. In our world, the absence of dinosaurs allowed birds to evolve into large, flightless forms like ostriches and cassowaries. But in a world still teeming with large, predatory, non-avian dinosaurs, a bird's ability to flee on foot would be its primary survival advantage. Therefore, the evolution of large, flightless ground birds would be highly unlikely. The niche for a large cursorial running predator or herbivore would be filled by specialized dinosaurs, making a bird's terrestrial life a dangerous gamble. Instead, we might see birds evolve into more secretive, ground-based niches. They could become burrowers, like modern-day groundhogs, or masters of camouflage, blending into the forest floor. This would be a stark contrast to our world, where birds occupy everything from the Arctic ice to the highest mountain peaks, and have even evolved to live entirely on the ground. The most profound impact on avian evolution would be the persistent presence of pterosaurs. Pterosaurs' longevity and success as flying reptiles suggest they were incredibly well adapted to their environment. Their specialized wings and lightweight skeletons made them masters of soaring and gliding, a skill set that birds, with their different wing structures, couldn't easily replicate. Without their extinction, birds would have remained in the role of a secondary aerial group. The lack of a release event means birds would never have their moment of explosive diversification. Their evolutionary path would be one of continuous specialization into smaller, safer niches, living under the constant threat of larger, more dominant relatives. This world would be a testament to a fascinating paradox. While a branch of the dinosaur family tree would continue to thrive, another would be forever held back by the shadow of their own larger, more powerful kin. With the old guard still firmly in control, the endless arms race of evolution doesn't stop. It simply continues its ancient cycle, but now on a canvas already dominated by colossal figures. In our timeline, the fall of the tyrannosaurs and their kin left a power vacuum, a wide-open stage for new carnivores to rise. But in this world, that vacuum never existed. The mighty tyrannosaurids, with their crushing jaws and powerful legs, continue to hold their position as apex predators in the northern continents. But as the world changes, as climates shift and new prey emerges, so too do their competitors. And in a million quiet corners of the planet, new, even more specialized forms of death are beginning to emerge. Think of the raptor lineage, the dromaeosaurids. In our world, they were intelligent and agile pack hunters, but their size limited their prey to smaller game. In a world where the biggest prey animals, the sauropods and ceratopsians, never went extinct, there would be immense pressure to evolve new strategies. We might see a new branch of these predators, a truly enormous dromaeosaurid, perhaps a megaraptor, capable of taking down even a subadult tyrannosaur. With their high intelligence and pack-based cooperation, these new apex predators might not rely on brute force, but on cunning. They could develop sophisticated hunting tactics, coordinating ambushes and using complex calls to communicate during the chase. Their social structures would become even more intricate, perhaps even showing signs of rudimentary problem-solving and memory that we associate with only the most intelligent mammals in our own timeline. Meanwhile, in the vast open plains, a different kind of predator might ascend. Instead of the massive, bone-crushing jaws of a T-Rex, perhaps a new family of carnivores would develop a reliance on speed and stealth. Picture a lineage of abelisaurs not as the slow-moving predators of the late Cretaceous, but evolving into lithe, long-legged hunters. With their unique, stunted forelimbs and powerful back legs, they could chase down new forms of fast-moving, herbivorous dinosaurs that emerge in the new, more open ecosystems. Their bite might not be as powerful, but their teeth could become thin and blade-like, designed for slicing and bleeding out prey. Their bodies could slim down, becoming highly specialized for endurance running, a dinosaurian cheetah, perfectly adapted to the wide, sun-drenched savannas. And in the swamps and wetlands, a third path to dominance unfolds. Here, the competition is less about speed and more about power and surprise. The spinosaurids, with their crocodile-like snouts and love for aquatic environments, might evolve into a more terrifying form. Instead of primarily fishing, a new species could adapt to hunting large, slow-moving herbivores that come to the water's edge to drink. Their sails could become thicker, serving as a display to intimidate competitors. Their forelimbs, already more developed than a tyrannosaur's, might grow even stronger, capable of grappling with prey. This new aquatic apex predator would become the Lord of the Lowlands, an enormous ambush-hunting monster that would make the ancient crocodiles look like harmless pets. It would be a chilling, silent threat, a hunter that moves without a sound until it's too late. These new predators wouldn't exist in a vacuum. Their rise would force the existing apex predators to adapt or go extinct. The tyrannosaurids, the undisputed kings for so long, would find themselves under pressure. Perhaps they would become even more massive, a last resort of brute force against cunning and agility. Or perhaps they would specialize in a specific type of prey, leaving other niches open to their new rivals. The evolutionary dance would intensify, pushing life to new extremes of specialization and power. It's a world where the shadows are deeper, the hunts are more thrilling, and the balance of power is constantly, subtly shifting. In this world of new monsters, the ecosystems would become more complex and dangerous than ever. Every species, from the smallest insect to the largest sauropod, would be living in a constant state of evolution, reacting to the relentless pressure from above. It is a world where dominance is not a given, but a title that must be continuously earned. A world where the grand narrative of life is written in tooth and claw, forever and without end. Close your eyes and listen to the footsteps of the hunters, the quiet rustle of the leaves as they stalk, and the thrilling pulse of a world where new apex predators continue their eternal reign. At the end of the Cretaceous, sauropods, though not as widespread as in the Jurassic, were still a major part of global ecosystems, especially in the southern hemisphere. The Titanosaurs, in particular, were a successful group, and they would be the ones to carry the torch into the Cenozoic. Without the extinction event, the evolutionary pressures that favored their size and defense mechanisms would intensify. The primary pressure would come from the persistence of large predatory dinosaurs like the abelisaurids and large tyrannosaurids. To survive, sauropods would have to maintain or even increase their immense size, an effective deterrent against all but the most coordinated or largest of predators. The evolutionary arms race would continue, with predators developing stronger jaws or pack hunting strategies, and sauropods responding with larger bodies, tougher skin, and maybe even more elaborate defensive spines or bony plates. This constant back and forth would prevent either group from fully dominating the other, creating a dynamic, yet stable ecosystem. While their size would be a constant, their feeding habits would evolve in response to the changing flora. The Cenozoic would see the continued diversification of flowering plants and grasses, which are tougher and more fibrous than the ancient ferns and cycads. Sauropods would likely develop more specialized teeth and powerful digestive systems to handle this new vegetation. We might see a greater variety of tooth shapes among sauropods, some for shearing and some for grinding, reflecting a wider range of food sources. Their necks, already an iconic feature, might evolve even greater flexibility to access different levels of forest canopies, from ground-level shrubs to the tallest treetops. The presence of these giants would also profoundly shape the environment. Sauropods, in a sense, would be living landscape engineers. Their immense size and constant foraging would act like giant lawnmowers, keeping large areas of land clear of dense growth, creating open plains and forests with wide clearings. Their massive footsteps would compress the soil, creating paths, depressions that would collect water and become new habitats for smaller animals. Their waste, rich in nutrients, would fertilize the soil, supporting the growth of new plant life and creating a continuous cycle of renewal. This means that a world without sauropods would not just be a world without large animals, it would be a world with a fundamentally different landscape. The great grasslands and forests of the Cenozoic as we know them would not exist. Instead, the world would be a mosaic of habitats, with open plains shaped by grazing sauropods and dense, impenetrable forests where they could not pass.
Como un
In our
tanque muy
timeline, the
maniobrable,
great
con una
Cenozoic
buena
herbivores,
armadura
elephants,
y sobre todo una
rhinoceroses
cornamenta
and giraffes
impresionante que
evolved to
llegaría como
fill
hasta
the
aquí.
large herbivore niche. But in this alternate reality, they would never have the chance. The niche is already occupied, and it is occupied by creatures that have a multi-million-year head start. The largest mammals in this world would be confined to much smaller sizes, never reaching the scale of an elephant, forever living in the shadows of the immense, long-necked masters of the land. The persistence of sauropods ensures that Earth remains, for all time, a land of giants. While land-based dinosaurs faced an interrupted existence, the world's oceans were set to continue a reign of terror and wonder that had been building for millions of years. In our timeline, the KPG extinction event with its profound disruption of the marine food web, wiped out the last great marine reptiles. The oceans, stripped of their apex predators, were eventually filled by the ancestors of modern whales and other marine mammals. But in a world where the asteroid misses, that oceanic void never appears, and the marine reptiles endure. The end of the Cretaceous saw three major groups of marine reptiles dominating the seas: the mosasaurs, the plesiosaurs, and to a lesser extent, the last of the ichthyosaurs. While ichthyosaurs had already experienced a decline in our timeline and were on their way to extinction, a world without the KPG event might have provided them with a new opportunity to rebound. However, it's more likely that the mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, being the more successful and dominant groups at the time, would have continued their evolutionary paths unimpeded. Mosasaurs, the great marine lizards, were the undisputed apex predators of the late Cretaceous. Their evolutionary success was based on their adaptability. They had already diversified into a wide range of forms, from slender, fast hunters to robust, crushing-jawed specialists. With the asteroid's miss, their reign would have continued, leading to even more extreme and specialized forms. We might see neomosasaurids evolving to fill niches that in our world are occupied by orcas and great white sharks. Some might become massive, torpedo-shaped predators with enhanced sensory organs for deep-sea hunting, while others could evolve into communal, pack-hunting creatures using their collective intelligence to take down larger prey. Their streamlined bodies and powerful tails would continue to be a perfect fit for a world of warm, rich oceans. The plesiosaurs, on the other hand, had already settled into two main body plans: the long-necked, small-headed plesiosauromorphs and the short-necked, large-headed plesiosauromorphs. In our timeline, both groups went extinct at the KPG boundary, but in this new reality, they would persist and continue to diversify. The long-necked plesiosauromorphs, like Elasmosaurus, with their immense flexible necks, would continue to fill a niche similar to that of modern-day seals or sea lions, using their necks to ambush fish and cephalopods. The pliosauromorphs, meanwhile, with their powerful flippers and immense jaws, would likely evolve into even more fearsome hunters, becoming the killer whales of the Cenozoic oceans. The famous Kronosaurus and its relatives would give rise to an even more monstrous lineage, perfectly adapted to hunting the largest fish and even the mosasaurs themselves. The continued dominance of these marine reptiles would have a profound impact on the evolution of mammals. In our world, the absence of mosasaurs and plesiosaurs left the oceans wide open for a new group of vertebrates to evolve. That group, as we know, was the cetaceans, whales and dolphins, who took to the seas and evolved into the intelligent, powerful creatures we see today. But in a world where the oceans are already controlled by monstrous, air-breathing reptiles, this evolutionary path for mammals would be completely blocked. The ancestors of whales would likely remain small, semi-aquatic shoreline dwellers, unable to venture into the open ocean without becoming a snack for a passing mosasaur or pliosaur. The oceans would remain a world of reptiles, a reptilian ocean, for the next 66 million years. The rich biodiversity of our oceans, from the largest baleen whales to the smallest dolphins, would be replaced by a terrifying, beautiful, and utterly alien collection of scaled and finned reptiles. The soundscapes of the sea in our world filled with the songs of whales would be filled with the hisses, clicks, and rumbles of these enduring leviathans. The KPG extinction was a key moment in Earth's history, but it was not just a story of a loss, but also of an opportunity. In a world where that opportunity was never presented, the oceans would be just as full, just as vibrant, but profoundly and beautifully different. In a world where the asteroid misses, the skies of the Cenozoic would not belong to birds, bats, or insects alone. Instead, they would remain the domain of the pterosaurs, the spectacular flying reptiles that held aerial supremacy for over 150 million years. This continued reign would be a testament to their incredible adaptability and would forever alter the course of aerial evolution. At the end of the Cretaceous, pterosaurs were at the peak of their evolutionary success, with giants like Quetzalcoatlus northropi dominating the skies with wingspans up to 36 feet. In our timeline, their extinction at the KPG boundary left a massive ecological void, allowing birds to evolve into large, specialized forms like raptors, scavengers, and even flightless runners. But in this alternate reality, the pterosaurs would never cede their throne. Pterosaurs were far more diverse and specialized than is commonly imagined. They occupied niches ranging from shoreline fishers and insect eaters to soaring predators. Without the extinction event, they would have had the opportunity to diversify even further, adapting to the new climatic and environmental conditions of the Cenozoic. We might see a new lineage of pterosaurian raptors preying on smaller mammals and dinosaurs. Others might evolve into specialized aerial scavengers, filling the role of vultures. Their success would ensure that no bird or bat could ever evolve to a large size, as their niches would be permanently occupied. As the Cenozoic progressed, the Earth's climate would gradually cool, and the atmospheric composition would change. Pterosaurs, being incredibly adaptable, would respond to these shifts. Their hollow, lightweight bones and specialized wing membranes were already perfect for efficient flight. In this new world, they would likely evolve new forms of insulation to cope with colder temperatures, perhaps in the form of proto-feathers or fur-like filaments. They might also develop more efficient respiratory systems to handle lower oxygen levels or a different atmospheric density, ensuring their continued success in a changing world. The ongoing continental drift would also create new evolutionary opportunities. As continents moved apart, pterosaurs would have to adapt to vast, new ocean crossings, leading to the evolution of new oceanic species. On newly formed islands and coastlines, they might specialize into endemic forms, much like our world's island-dwelling birds. Some might even evolve to be flightless, occupying terrestrial niches in isolated areas where large predatory dinosaurs are absent. The most profound impact of the pterosaurs' continued reign would be on the evolution of birds. Birds, which are avian dinosaurs, would remain in the background, a constant presence but never a dominant one. They would be confined to smaller niches, such as insect eaters and arboreal specialists, where their agility and smaller size would give them an advantage over their larger relatives. The lack of a release event means that birds would never have their moment of explosive diversification. Their evolutionary path would be one of continuous competition, living in the shadow of the masters of the sky. The sight of a giant 30-foot pterosaur soaring silently over a forest would be a common one, a reminder of the long-standing order of things. This world is a perpetual late Cretaceous, a living museum where the great flying reptiles never left, and the sky is a truly ancient place. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the Cenozoic era would not be static. It would be a time of continuous innovation. The established lineages wouldn't just persist, they would give rise to entirely new, and in some cases, truly bizarre forms. These neo-dinosaurs would be the products of 66 million more years of evolution, adapting to new challenges, filling newly created niches, and showcasing the endless creativity of life. The tyrannosaurid and abelisaurid lines would continue their evolutionary arms race with their colossal prey. But new predators would also emerge from smaller, faster theropod groups. The raptors, with their large brains and communal hunting skills, would be prime candidates for radical evolution. We might see the rise of a new class of hyper-intelligent, pack-hunting predators, a parallel to the evolution of wolves and dogs in our world. These sapient raptors could develop more complex vocalizations, rudimentary tool use, and intricate social structures, becoming the most cognitively advanced non-avian dinosaurs. Their evolution would prove that intelligence is not unique to mammals. Simultaneously, we could see a return to an even more ancient body plan. Theropods, like spinosaurids, which were semi-aquatic, could give rise to a new lineage of piscivorous, fish-eating giants. Imagine a massive sail-backed dinosaur, 60 feet long, prowling the Cenozoic rivers and coastlines, a fusion of a crocodile and a dinosaur. This would be a perfect example of a new niche being filled by an ancient body plan. The herbivores would also undergo a major transformation. Hadrosaurs, already masters of chewing, might evolve into forms with even more complex digestive systems to handle the proliferation of grasses. We might see the emergence of cenohadrosaurs with multiple stomachs, similar to cows and other ruminants, allowing them to extract maximum nutrients from their fibrous diet. Meanwhile, the armored ankylosaurids could evolve into even more impenetrable forms. With their primary predators, tyrannosaurids, continuing to evolve, their armor would become thicker, their tails more formidable, and their bodies more robust. Some could even become so heavily armored that they would evolve into stationary, tree-like creatures, living defenses for a herd. Perhaps the most astonishing development would be in the sauropods. While some would continue as immense, long-necked browsers, others might evolve to become terrestrial browsers with shorter necks and more massive bodies,
como un tanque muy maniobrable, con una
They would
buena
be
armadura
a living
y sobre
deforestation
todo una
engine,
cornamenta
perpetually
impresionante
changing the
que
landscape
llegaría
with their
como
sheer
hasta aquí.
size and voracious appetites, and creating vast new grasslands for other herbivores to exploit. The lack of a mass extinction would force dinosaurs into a more competitive and specialized existence, driving the creation of new ecological niches. We could see burrowing dinosaurs that live entirely underground, or arboreal dinosaurs that spend their entire lives in the treetops, never touching the ground. These smaller, more obscure dinosaurs would be the result of a constant pressure to adapt or be outcompeted. The world would be filled with a diversity of life that we can't even imagine. This rise of neo-dinosaurs would be a testament to the fact that evolution is not a one-time event. Even in a world of giants, there would still be room for new innovations, new body plans and new ways of life. The story of life is a story of continuous change, and in a world where the dinosaurs never left, the story would have been no less fascinating, no less complex, and no less beautiful. The survival of the dinosaurs into the Cenozoic would not be a simple continuation of their old life. The evolution of flowering plants, or angiosperms, which were already diversifying rapidly at the end of the Cretaceous, would fundamentally reshape terrestrial ecosystems and force herbivores to adapt in new, specialized ways. In the Mesozoic, the dominant plant life was composed of conifers, cycads, ferns, and ginkgos, tough, fibrous, and often low in nutritional value. Dinosaurs, like sauropods and hadrosaurs, had evolved powerful grinding teeth and complex digestive systems to process this food. But the Cenozoic brought a new, far more diverse menu: flowering plants, grasses, fruits, and nuts. This shift would have a profound effect. For herbivores, it meant both new challenges and new opportunities. Dinosaurs that could not adapt to these new food sources would face extinction. However, those that could would thrive. We would likely see a great deal of coevolution, where dinosaurs and plants evolved together in a constant dance of adaptation. Plants would develop new defenses like thorns or toxins, while herbivores would develop new ways to overcome them, such as tougher beaks or specialized digestive enzymes. The most significant change would be in the teeth and digestive systems of herbivorous dinosaurs. Hadrosaurs, with their dental batteries of hundreds of teeth, were already pre-adapted for this new world. Their ability to grind tough plant matter would allow them to consume the fibrous grasses that were beginning to spread across the globe. Over millions of years, they would likely evolve even more complex jaw structures and teeth that were more resistant to wear, much like modern-day cows and horses. The colossal sauropods, on the other hand, would face a more difficult challenge. Their long necks and simple teeth were well suited for stripping leaves from ancient conifers, but less so for chewing tough grasses. Some sauropods might become extinct as their primary food sources disappear. However, others would adapt. We might see some sauropod lineages evolve shorter necks and more powerful jaws, becoming the dominant grazers of the new grasslands. The evolution of flora would also directly impact the physical landscape. The rise of grasses would lead to the formation of vast, open savannas and plains, a stark contrast to the dense forests and swamps of the Mesozoic. The immense herds of hadrosaurs and ceratopsians would act as a kind of living lawnmower, constantly grazing and keeping the plains open, preventing them from being reclaimed by forests. This would create a feedback loop. As the plains expanded, they would support larger herds, which in turn would keep the plains from becoming overgrown. This would also have a trickle-down effect on smaller animals. The open plains would be a new hunting ground for fast-running theropods, and the new floral diversity would create new niches for insects, birds, and small mammals. The vegetation shifts would not just be a consequence of the asteroid's miss, they would be a major driving force of dinosaurian evolution in the Cenozoic. The ability of the dinosaurs to adapt to this new world of flowers, fruits, and grasses would be the ultimate test of their long-term survival, proving that their reign was not a static one, but a dynamic and ever-changing story. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the pressure to survive and thrive would be the most powerful driver of evolution. While our own timeline saw the rise of mammalian intelligence, this alternate history would see a parallel development among certain dinosaur lineages, particularly the raptor-like species dromaeosaurids. Their existing traits, group hunting, communication, and advanced senses would provide a perfect foundation for a massive leap in cognitive ability. Raptors, like the famous velociraptor and Deinonychus, were already remarkably intelligent for their time. They had larger brains relative to their body size compared to other dinosaurs. Their sophisticated pack hunting strategies required complex communication and coordination, the ability to plan and adapt to the behavior of their prey. This social intelligence is a key precursor to higher cognitive functions in many species, including our own. Without a mass extinction, the raptors would have had 66 million more years to evolve. The primary evolutionary pressure on them would be a cognitive arms race with their prey. As the herbivores got more specialized, tougher, or faster, the raptors would need to get smarter to catch them. This would lead to a feedback loop. Smarter predators would select for smarter prey, and vice versa, accelerating the development of intelligence in both groups. As their brains grew, these raptors could develop a form of tool use. While they already had a powerful set of claws, the ability to use external tools like stones to crack eggs or sticks to probe for insects would provide a massive evolutionary advantage. This, in turn, would lead to the development of a more sophisticated brain capable of abstract thought. Their vocal communication could also become more complex. Instead of simple chirps and calls, they might develop a vast repertoire of sounds, rudimentary language for passing on knowledge and coordinating complex social behaviors. This could be a parallel to the development of language in early humans, a crucial step toward self-awareness and culture. These sapient raptors might also be capable of empathy and problem-solving. Their group hunting required cooperation, and a higher level of intelligence would allow them to form more intricate social bonds. They might also be able to solve complex environmental problems, like finding new water sources during a drought or adapting to a changing landscape. The rise of a new, non-mammalian intelligence would challenge our own assumptions about consciousness. For millions of years, we have seen ourselves as the sole bearers of true intelligence on this planet. But in a world where the dinosaurs never left, we might be nothing more than a forgotten evolutionary path. This sapient raptor could be Earth's true answer to the question of intelligent life, a testament to the idea that consciousness can emerge from many different branches of the tree of life. Ultimately, a world with intelligent dinosaurs would be a world of two-way evolution. It would not be a static, museum-like environment, but a world of continuous change, with new challenges and new solutions emerging every generation. The story of life is a story of adaptation, and in this alternate reality, the most fascinating story might not be about muscle and bone, but about the slow, silent rise of the dinosaur mind. With the rise of increased intelligence and complex social structures, a world where dinosaurs never went extinct would inevitably see the dawn of something more than mere instinct, the emergence of dinosaurian culture. This would manifest through rudimentary tool use, sophisticated communication, and the transmission of learned behaviors across generations, a process that would profoundly shape their evolution. Tool use is often seen as a hallmark of intelligence, and in this alternate timeline, it would not be exclusive to mammals. The most intelligent dinosaur lineages, likely the raptor-like dromaeosaurids, would begin to use tools to overcome environmental challenges. Their powerful claws and manipulative forelimbs would be perfectly suited for this purpose. Initially, this would be a simple, opportunistic use of natural objects. A raptor might use a small stone to crack open a hard-shelled egg or a stick to probe a burrow for hidden prey. Over millions of years, this would evolve into more deliberate and complex behaviors. They might learn to modify objects, sharpening a stick into a spear for hunting, or stripping bark from a tree to create a makeshift nest. This would mark the beginning of a dinosaurian technology, a slow and patient process of using external objects to control and manipulate the world around them. This rudimentary technology would not be static. Knowledge of how to make and use tools would be passed down from one generation to the next, not through genetics, but through social learning. This is a key component of culture. The young would observe their elders and learn the skills necessary for survival, creating a continuous feedback loop of innovation and cultural transmission. The complex social structures of these intelligent dinosaurs would require an equally complex form of communication. While their early ancestors used simple calls and vocalizations, the neo-dinosaurs would likely develop a much more sophisticated system. This would be a dinosaurian language, a complex set of clicks, whistles, rumbles, and infrasound calls that would allow them to convey a vast amount of information. This language would not be a simple set of commands, but a way to express abstract ideas. They could communicate about the location of a specific type of prey, the dangers of a particular territory, or the social dynamics within their pack. This would be a crucial development for their survival, allowing them to coordinate complex hunts and transmit knowledge across vast distances. The ability to communicate about the past and future would also be a key component of this new culture. They could tell their young about the dangers their ancestors faced, or plan a coordinated attack on a future hunt. This would be a form of proto-storytelling, a way to create a shared identity and history, a central element of any culture. Culture is the set of shared beliefs, customs, and behaviors that define a society. In a world with intelligent dinosaurs, this would manifest in a variety of ways. They might have rituals for hunting, nesting, or mourning. A pack might have a unique way of preparing a kill or a specific way of performing a mating dance that is passed down through generations. These would be a form of cultural identity, a way to distinguish one
con
pack
mucha
or
agilidad,
herd from another.
como un tanque muy
The very
maniobrable,
act of living
con
in a
una buena
complex
armadura
society would be a form
y sobre
of
todo
culture.
una cornamenta
The
impresionante
intricate
que
social
llegaría como hasta aquí.
hierarchies, the cooperation within the pack, the way the young are raised and cared for, these would all be part of a dinosaurian way of life that is learned, not inherited. It would be a world where the dinosaurs are not just reacting to their environment, but are actively shaping it with their intelligence, their communication, and their culture. This would be a monumental shift, a testament to the fact that given enough time, any life form, no matter how ancient or seemingly brutish, can develop a rich and complex inner world. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, mammals would be forced to find clever ways to survive in the shadows of giants. They wouldn't evolve into the large, diverse creatures we know today. Instead, their evolutionary path would be defined by niche exploitation, a constant struggle to find and thrive in the small, marginal spaces that dinosaurs couldn't or wouldn't occupy. The most fundamental niche for mammals would be the night. While some dinosaurs were active at night, most were diurnal, relying on sight to hunt. Mammals, with their high metabolism and warm-blooded nature, were perfectly suited for the cool temperatures and darkness of the night. This allowed them to forage for food and avoid large predators during the day. This nocturnal existence would become a permanent genetic trait for most mammals, ensuring that they would forever be the masters of the shadows. Another vital niche for mammalian survival would be the treetops. The sheer weight of most dinosaurs made them unable to climb. This created a safe, three-dimensional world in the forest canopy that was largely free of dinosaurian predators. Primates, for example, would remain small and arboreal, their bodies becoming even more specialized for life in the trees. They would be experts at swinging from branch to branch and navigating the dense foliage, a life of constant evasion. Their primary food sources would be fruits, nuts, and insects that were inaccessible to their larger relatives on the ground. The ground itself would also offer a crucial niche for survival. Small mammals would evolve into burrowing specialists, creating vast, intricate networks of tunnels and burrows to escape predators. Think of a world filled with creatures like modern-day moles, badgers, and rabbits, but on a much grander scale. These underground sanctuaries would provide a safe haven from the immense footsteps of sauropods and the hunting claws of raptors. They would also be a source of food, as these mammals would feed on the roots, insects, and worms that lived underground. Mammals would also become experts in dietary specialization. While dinosaurs feasted on vast quantities of vegetation or large prey, mammals would survive on the scraps. Their diet would consist of things that dinosaurs ignored, such as insects, eggs, seeds, and even dinosaur waste, which would be rich in nutrients. This would prevent any direct competition for food with larger, more dominant species. It would also lead to the evolution of specialized digestive systems and a more refined sense of smell for finding hidden food sources. The relationship between mammals and dinosaurs would not be one of simple competition. It would be a complex co-evolutionary dance. As mammals became more specialized, dinosaurs would respond with their own adaptations. A predator might evolve a longer, more slender snout to reach into burrows, while a burrowing mammal might develop a more complex tunnel system to avoid being hunted. This constant back and forth would ensure that neither group would ever fully dominate the other, creating a world of perpetual struggle and endless innovation. In this world, the story of mammals is not one of a hero's journey, but one of a quiet, persistent existence in the shadows of giants. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the survival and thriving of other reptile and amphibian groups would be a testament to their own incredible adaptability. They wouldn't be competing directly with dinosaurs for the same niches, but would instead specialize and evolve in ways that allowed them to live alongside and, in some cases, even prey on the giants. Amphibians and non-dinosaurian reptiles already coexisted with dinosaurs for millions of years during the Mesozoic. Without the KPG extinction event, their evolutionary trajectory would continue, leading to highly specialized forms. The key to their success would be niche exploitation, thriving in the small, often unseen corners of the world that dinosaurs couldn't reach. While dinosaurs would rule the land and seas, amphibians would likely dominate the smaller, more marginal ecosystems. The great Mesozoic amphibians, like the temnospondyls, which were large and crocodile-like, were already in decline. However, a gradual rather than sudden climate change might allow some of their lineages to persist, evolving into new forms. More importantly, smaller amphibians such as frogs and salamanders would thrive. They would specialize in the wetlands, swamps, and dense undergrowth, where their small size and ability to live both on land and in water would give them a unique advantage. They would be the masters of the night, preying on insects and other small invertebrates. The absence of a mass extinction would also mean that the evolution of complex defenses would be crucial. Many modern amphibians use venom or bright coloration to warn off predators. This would be a major evolutionary trend in a world with predatory dinosaurs. A small, brightly colored frog, for example, would be a clear warning to a larger, more intelligent dinosaur that it is not worth the effort of the hunt. Non-dinosaurian reptiles would also continue to thrive and diversify. The crocodilomorphs, for example, were already a successful group at the end of the Cretaceous. Without the extinction event, they would have continued to evolve into even more fearsome predators. We might see the emergence of truly enormous crocodilian species, far larger than any living today, specializing in hunting large dinosaurs that came to the water's edge to drink. These neo-crocodiles would be a major force in the riverine ecosystems, a constant threat to all land-based life. Other reptile groups like lizards and snakes would also flourish. Their small size and ability to hide in burrows and under rocks would allow them to live in the same world as dinosaurs. Their evolutionary path would be one of specialization. We might see snakes with specialized venom for subduing a wider variety of prey, or lizards that have developed complex camouflage to hide from predators. Their small size would be a key to their survival, allowing them to fill the niches that the larger, more powerful dinosaurs would ignore. The continued coexistence of dinosaurs, reptiles, and amphibians would create an incredibly rich and complex ecosystem. The dinosaurs would be the main players, but the reptiles and amphibians would be the underpinning foundation, the small but vital parts of a larger system. They would be the decomposers, the insect eaters, and the small predators that kept the entire system in balance. The world would be a living tapestry, with every inch of it, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountain peaks, filled with life. The great beasts would be a constant, but the real story of survival would be told in the small, unseen lives of the amphibians and reptiles who adapted and thrived in their shadow. If the asteroid missed, the great northern forests which existed, even at the end of the Cretaceous, would not be destroyed. Instead, they would become unique ecosystems, supporting specialized dinosaur fauna that adapted to cooler, more seasonal climates. These forests would be a world apart from the lush, tropical jungles of the Mesozoic, a living testament to the adaptability of dinosaurs. The high northern latitudes, including what is now Alaska and parts of Canada, would be home to a fascinating array of dinosaurs. While the climate was warmer than it is today, it was still far from tropical, with long, dark winters. Dinosaurs in these regions would have to adapt to this seasonality. One of the key adaptations would be the development of seasonal migration. Herds of duck-billed hadrosaurs and armored ankylosaurs would travel thousands of miles to find food and warmer nesting grounds. Their predators, like the subpolar tyrannosaurids, would follow, creating a continuous cycle of life and death that would define the northern latitudes. This would be a world of immense endurance, where survival depended on the ability to move with the seasons. For the dinosaurs that didn't migrate, the adaptations would be even more profound. They would have to cope with long, dark, and cold winters. This would likely lead to the development of a thick, insulating layer of proto-feathers. While many dinosaurs had some form of feathering, in these northern climates, they would evolve into a dense, downy coat similar to a modern-day polar bear or musk ox. This would allow them to conserve heat and remain active throughout the winter, a remarkable feat for a group of animals often seen as cold-blooded. Their behavior would also change. Some dinosaurs might develop the ability to hibernate or enter a state of torpor during the coldest months. They would burrow into the snow or find shelter in caves, slowing their metabolism and conserving energy until the spring. This would be a unique evolutionary path for a dinosaur, a far cry from their tropical ancestors. The great northern forests themselves would be a unique ecosystem. They would be dominated by conifers and other hardy plants, and the ground would be a tapestry of ferns, mosses, and fungi. This dense, multi-layered environment would provide a sanctuary for smaller dinosaurs, as well as mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. They would live in the undergrowth, foraging for food and hiding from the larger, more visible predators. The forests would also be home to a unique class of dinosaurs, the neo-ornithopods. These smaller, more agile dinosaurs, related to the hadrosaurs, would evolve to become experts at navigating the dense forest floor. They would be a perfect example of how a group of dinosaurs once confined to open plains would adapt to a new, more challenging environment. Ultimately, the great northern forests would be a testament to the resilience of dinosaurs. They would show that these ancient creatures were not confined to a single climate or ecosystem, but were capable of adapting to a wide range of conditions. The northern dinosaurs would be a world of their own, a unique chapter in the story of a planet where the giants never left. Without the asteroid impact, the dinosaurs on the isolated southern continents would embark on an evolutionary journey all their own. As continents like South America, Africa, and Australia continued their slow drift away from the larger land masses, they would become vast, living laboratories of evolution, where dinosaurs would develop into unique, and in some cases, bizarre forms unlike anything seen elsewhere. In our timeline, the continents of the southern hemisphere were already largely separated from the north at the end of the Cretaceous. This isolation, known as the Gondwanan isolation, had already given rise to distinct dinosaur fauna, such as the short-armed, stocky abelisaurids that dominated the south as apex predators. Without the extinction event, this isolation would continue for millions of years, leading to an incredible amount of speciation. The dinosaurs on these continents would evolve without the gene flow from their northern relatives. This would lead to a phenomenon known as insular evolution, where species on islands or isolated landmasses evolve in unexpected ways. The lack of competition from other species and the unique environmental pressures would be the primary drivers of this change. The most striking result of this isolation would be the evolution of bizarre and specialized forms. In our world, the isolated continents gave rise to creatures like the kangaroos of Australia and the lemurs of Madagascar. In this alternate reality, the same pressures would act on dinosaurs. For example, on the South American landmass, the titanosaurs, already the largest of the sauropods, would continue their evolutionary path. Without the pressure of a global ecosystem, they might evolve into even more gigantic forms, becoming true behemoths that dwarf their northern cousins. Or conversely, in smaller, more resource-limited environments, they could experience insular dwarfism, shrinking to a fraction of their original size. The abelisaurids, already with their distinctive blunted snouts and tiny forelimbs, could evolve into even more unique predators. On a continent without the competition of tyrannosaurs, they might specialize in different types of prey, leading to variations in their body plans. We might see some abelisaurids with longer legs for chasing down fast-running prey, or others with stronger, more crushing jaws for tackling armored herbivores. Each southern continent would develop its own unique ecosystem. Australia, in this timeline, would be home to a dinosaurian megafauna all its own. We might see dinosaurs that fill the niche of our world's kangaroos with powerful hind legs for hopping. Or we could see a lineage of avian dinosaurs that become the dominant predators, similar to our world's Dromaeoidae, emu family, but on a much larger scale. The isolation would also lead to a lack of biodiversity. While the forms would be unique, there would be fewer of them. A continent might have a handful of dominant dinosaur species that fill all the major niches with little overlap or competition. This would create a stable but ultimately fragile ecosystem that would be susceptible to any new external influence. The story of the southern dinosaurs is one of uninterrupted specialization. They would be a living record of an evolutionary path not taken, a testament to the incredible power of continental drift and the endless creativity of life when given the opportunity to evolve on its own. They would be a world of their own, forever separate from the global story of the northern dinosaurs. With the gradual cooling and continental drift of the Cenozoic, new arid and desert environments would emerge. In a world without the KPG extinction, dinosaurs with their unmatched adaptability would evolve specialized survival strategies to thrive in these harsh, water-scarce landscapes. The dinosaurs that would conquer the deserts would not be the lumbering giants of the Mesozoic, but new lineages that evolved remarkable physiological adaptations for water conservation. This would include a more efficient kidney system to reabsorb water and produce highly concentrated urine, a trait seen in modern desert mammals like camels and kangaroos. They would also develop a highly efficient circulatory system to regulate body temperature, allowing them to remain active in the intense heat of the day. Some dinosaurs might even develop specialized fat deposits in their humps or tails, a parallel to the modern camel. These fat deposits would serve as both an energy reserve and a source of metabolic water, allowing them to survive for long periods without drinking. Their skin would also become thicker and less permeable, with scales designed to minimize water loss through evaporation. Survival in the desert would also require a significant shift in behavior. Many dinosaurs would become nocturnal or crepuscular, active during twilight hours to avoid the scorching daytime temperatures. They would spend the day in burrows or in the shade of rocks, emerging at night to hunt or forage for food when the temperature was cooler. Other dinosaurs would develop complex burrowing behaviors, creating vast, intricate networks of tunnels to escape the heat and find food underground. These would be small, streamlined dinosaurs with powerful claws for digging and a keen sense of smell to hunt for insects and other invertebrates. Their burrows would also be a safe haven from predators and a place to raise their young. The harsh desert environment would also lead to the evolution of new, highly specialized forms. We might see the rise of sand divers, small dinosaurs that spend most of their lives buried in the sand, emerging only to ambush prey. Their bodies would be flattened and streamlined, with scales that prevent sand from getting into their eyes and nostrils. The deserts would also be home to a unique class of herbivores specializing in consuming tough, thorny, and water-rich plants like cacti and succulents. These dinosaurs would have a specialized beak or jaw structure to process this food, as well as a stomach that can handle the toxins and thorns. Ultimately, the adaptations of dinosaurs to arid and desert environments would show that their reign was not a temporary one, but a long and patient story of survival. The dinosaurs would prove that they were not just masters of the tropical and temperate worlds, but also of the harshest, most unforgiving landscapes on the planet. In a world without the K-Page extinction event, the gradual cooling of the Cenozoic would present a significant challenge for dinosaurs. However, their incredible adaptability, already demonstrated by their presence in polar regions during the Cretaceous, would allow them to become masters of the Arctic and Antarctic. They wouldn't just survive, they would thrive, developing unique physical and behavioral adaptations to endure the frigid polar environments. While the climate of the polar regions during the Cretaceous was milder than it is today, it was still seasonal, with long periods of darkness and cold. This set the stage for the evolution of new forms of insulation. Many dinosaurs, especially smaller theropods, had already evolved proto-feathers to regulate their body temperature. In a cooling Cenozoic, these simple filaments would evolve into a dense, multi-layered coat of feathers that provided superior thermal insulation. This would be a direct parallel to the evolution of fur in mammals, a key adaptation for life in cold climates. Some dinosaurs might even develop specialized layers of fat beneath their skin, much like a whale's blubber, to further insulate their bodies. Their appendages, like their snouts and tails, might also become shorter to minimize heat loss, a phenomenon known as Allen's rule. These physiological changes would allow them to maintain a high body temperature, a crucial advantage in a cold climate. The most significant behavioral adaptation for polar dinosaurs would be seasonal migration. Herds of hadrosaurs and ceratopsians would travel thousands of miles following the sun and food sources as they changed with the seasons. Their predators, like the specialized polar tyrannosaurids, would follow, creating a continuous cycle of life and death that would define the polar regions. This would be a display of immense endurance, as the dinosaurs would have to navigate through snow, ice, and frigid temperatures. For some of the smaller dinosaurs, especially those that couldn't travel long distances, hibernation would be a key survival strategy. They would burrow into the ground or find shelter in caves, slowing their metabolism to a near standstill to conserve energy during the long, dark winter months. This would be a testament to the fact that dinosaurs were not just brutish beasts, but highly intelligent and adaptable creatures. The polar regions would not be barren wastelands. They would be home to a unique and vibrant ecosystem, a dinosaurian Arctic. The great northern forests would be home to specialized herbivores with strong teeth for grinding tough, cold-hardy vegetation, and their predators would be masters of hunting in snow and ice. The frozen seas would be patrolled by specialized marine reptiles that had evolved to hunt in cold water. Ultimately, the survival of dinosaurs in these frigid polar regions would be a testament to their evolutionary success. They would prove that their reign was not a temporary phase in Earth's history, but a long and patient story of survival in every environment on the planet. In a world still ruled by colossal dinosaurs, the surface would be a perilous place for smaller creatures. Thus, a new, thriving world would emerge beneath the ground. Smaller, burrowing dinosaurs and mammals would create vast, hidden ecosystems, a testament to their ability to adapt and survive in the shadows. The primary driver for this burrowing lifestyle would be defense against predators. The immense size of the dominant dinosaurs would prevent them from chasing their prey underground. This would create a safe, three-dimensional world where smaller creatures could live, feed, and raise their young without the constant threat of being hunted. Over millions of years, this would lead to the evolution of a new class of subterranean dinosaurs. These would be small, fast, and agile creatures with powerful claws for digging and a flattened body for navigating narrow tunnels. They would be a perfect example of how a group of dinosaurs, once confined to the surface, would adapt to a new, more challenging environment. The burrowing dinosaurs would not be alone. They would be part of a complex, co-evolving ecosystem. The ground would be a tapestry of life, with creatures living in a world of perpetual darkness and silence. The primary food source for these burrowers would be the rich, nutrient-filled soil, as well as insects, worms, and other invertebrates. This would create a feedback loop. As the burrowers dug more tunnels, they would aerate the soil and create more habitats for other creatures, which in turn would provide more food for the burrowers. This would be a self-sustaining system, a living testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and robust stability. The burrowing lifestyle would also have a profound impact on the evolution of mammals. Confined to the margins by the dominant dinosaurs, mammals would find a safe haven underground. They would specialize in digging and navigating narrow tunnels and would become the masters of the night, foraging for food when the dinosaurs were asleep. The subterranean world would be a world of its own, with its own set of rules and its own dominant species. The burrowing dinosaurs and mammals would be a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of adaptation. They would be a living record of an evolutionary path not taken, a testament to the incredible power of life when given the opportunity to evolve on its own. In a world without the KPG extinction event, the great swamps and wetlands of the late Cretaceous would endure and expand, becoming a defining feature of the Cenozoic landscape. These lush, extensive environments would provide a haven for a unique class of semi-aquatic dinosaurs and ancient crocodilians, which would evolve into even more specialized and formidable forms. The swamps of the Cenozoic would be far from static. They would be a dynamic and thriving ecosystem with a constant interplay between land and water. The immense amount of water and plant life would support a rich food web, from microscopic organisms to colossal herbivores. The dense, multi-layered foliage would provide a sanctuary for smaller dinosaurs, amphibians, and reptiles, which would live in a world of perpetual humidity and shade. The primary inhabitants of these swamps would be semi-aquatic dinosaurs, which would evolve into a new, specialized lineage. The Spinosaurids, for example, which were already adept at a semi-aquatic lifestyle, could give rise to a new class of neo-spinosaurs that were even more specialized for life in the water. They would have longer, more streamlined bodies, powerful tails for propulsion, and jaws filled with conical teeth for catching fish and other aquatic prey. They would be the great white sharks of the swamps, patrolling the murky waters and preying on anything that came to the water's edge. The crocodilians, which were already highly successful at the end of the Cretaceous, would also continue to thrive in the swamps. The Dinosaurs, a colossal crocodilian that was already a major predator, would give rise to even larger and more specialized forms. These titan crocs would be a terrifying presence in the swamps, using their immense jaws and powerful bodies to ambush and crush even the largest of the dinosaurs that came to drink. They would be a living testament to the fact that ancient body plans can be just as successful as modern ones. The continued reign of these crocodilians would have a profound impact on the evolution of mammals. In our world, the swamps and rivers were eventually filled with the ancestors of modern hippos, beavers, and otters. But in this alternate reality, these niches would be permanently occupied by the crocodilians, preventing any large, semi-aquatic mammal from evolving. The swamps would also play a crucial role in climate regulation. The immense amount of plant life would absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to mitigate the gradual global cooling trends of the Cenozoic. They would also be a natural filter, purifying the water and providing a stable, nutrient-rich environment for a wide range of life. Ultimately, the swamps of the Cenozoic would be a world of their own, a unique chapter in the story of a planet where the giants never left. They would be a testament to the resilience of ancient life forms and a living record of a world that was both terrifying and beautiful. In a world without the KPG extinction event, the slow drift of continents would create vast, isolated islands. These islands, cut off from the global gene pool, would become evolutionary hotspots, where dinosaurs would evolve into unique and often bizarre forms. This phenomenon, known as insular evolution, would lead to a number of unique species, showcasing either dwarfism or gigantism. Insular evolution is a process where isolated populations of animals evolve in response to a lack of competition and predation. On large continents, an animal's size is often determined by the presence of predators and competitors, but on a small, isolated island, these pressures are removed. A large predator might not be able to find enough food to survive, while a small herbivore might not have any predators to worry about. This would lead to a number of unique evolutionary outcomes. For large dinosaurs, the lack of resources on a small island would be the primary driver of change. A large sauropod, for example, would not be able to find enough food to support its immense size. Over millions of years, this would lead to a process of insular dwarfism, where the dinosaurs shrink to a fraction of their original size. A dwarf sauropod, for example, might be no bigger than a modern-day elephant, a living testament to the fact that size is a matter of environment, not a constant. This would be a remarkable evolutionary development, as it would show that dinosaurs were not confined to a single body plan, but were capable of adapting to a wide range of conditions. Conversely, smaller dinosaurs would face a different set of pressures. On a continent, they would be hunted by larger predators and outcompeted by larger herbivores, but on a small, isolated island, these pressures are removed. This would lead to a process of insular gigantism, where the dinosaurs evolved to be much larger than their continental relatives. A small raptor, for example, might evolve to be the size of a modern-day bear, becoming the apex predator of its island home. A giant island raptor, with its powerful claws and immense size, would be a fearsome predator, a living testament to the fact that given enough time and opportunity, any animal can become a giant. The isolated islands would also be home to a number of other unique species. A species of hadrosaur, for example, might evolve into a flightless, island-dwelling herbivore similar to the modern-day dodo. Without the pressure of predators, they would lose the ability to flee, becoming a peaceful, docile, and ultimately vulnerable species. Their fate, however, would be a matter of time. The introduction of any new external predator would likely spell their end. Ultimately, the isolated islands would be a world of their own, a unique chapter in the story of a planet where the giants never left. They would be a testament to the incredible power of insular evolution and a living record of a world that was both beautiful and fragile. With the continued reign of dinosaurs, the night would not be a time of rest, but a time of terror. In this alternate world, a new class of nocturnal dinosaurs would emerge, ruling the darkness and forcing other creatures to adapt to a life of perpetual daylight. In our timeline, the KPG extinction event opened up the nocturnal niche for mammals, allowing them to thrive and eventually become the dominant life forms. But in a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the primary evolutionary pressure would be to avoid competition with the dominant diurnal dinosaurs. This would lead to a number of dinosaur lineages becoming nocturnal, filling a niche that in our world is occupied by bats, owls, and other nocturnal creatures. These dinosaurs would be masters of the night with a number of unique adaptations. Their eyes would be much larger and more sensitive to light, allowing them to see in the darkness. Their hearing and sense of smell would also be greatly enhanced, allowing them to hunt their prey with pinpoint accuracy. This would be a stark contrast to their diurnal relatives, which relied on sight to hunt. The most fearsome of the nocturnal dinosaurs would be the predators. A new lineage of nocturnal raptors would emerge, specializing in hunting in the darkness. They would be stealthy and silent, using their enhanced senses to stalk their prey. Their primary food source would be the small, scurrying mammals that were forced to live a nocturnal life to avoid the dinosaurs. Other dinosaurs would also become nocturnal. A lineage of herbivores would emerge, specializing in feeding on the fungi, moss, and other plants that grew in the darkness. They would have a number of unique adaptations, such as a highly developed sense of smell to find food and a tough digestive system to handle the fibrous plant matter. The rise of nocturnal dinosaurs would have a profound impact on the evolution of mammals. Confined to the margins by the dominant dinosaurs, mammals had already adopted a nocturnal lifestyle. But with the emergence of a new class of nocturnal predators, their existence would become even more precarious. They would be forced to adapt in new ways, becoming even smaller, faster, and more secretive to avoid being hunted. The world would become a place of perpetual fear for mammals. They would be forced to live a life of constant evasion, forever, in the shadows of the dinosaurs. This would be a living testament to the fact that when one group of animals becomes dominant, it can have a profound and lasting impact on the evolution of all other life forms. Ultimately, the fear of the night would be a defining feature of this alternate world. The dinosaurs would be the masters of both the day and the night, ruling the planet with an iron fist. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, a living testament to the fact that given enough time and opportunity, life can adapt to and thrive in any environment, no matter how harsh. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the constant pressure of competition would drive the evolution of specialized senses in many dinosaur groups. This would be an evolutionary arms race, with predators developing enhanced senses for hunting and prey developing equally enhanced senses for avoidance. The result would be a world of hypersensitive creatures, a living testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of perception. Many dinosaurs already had a keen sense of sight. Raptors, in particular, had large, forward-facing eyes, giving them excellent binocular vision for judging distance and depth. In this alternate timeline, their eyesight would become even more refined. They might evolve eyes with a higher concentration of cones, allowing them to see in a wider range of colors, including those in the ultraviolet spectrum. This would give them a major advantage in hunting their prey, as they could see patterns and colors that were invisible to their victims. Nocturnal dinosaurs would also evolve a unique form of eyesight. Their eyes would be much larger, with a high concentration of rods, allowing them to see in near total darkness. This would be a perfect adaptation for hunting in the night, a niche that was previously unexplored by dinosaurs. The world would be a place of perpetual shadow and light, with each group of dinosaurs perfectly adapted to its own time of day. Hearing would also become a key survival tool. Dinosaurs that relied on stealth to hunt would develop a highly refined sense of hearing, allowing them to detect the slightest rustle of a leaf or the faintest sound of a scurrying mammal. Their ears would be much larger and more sensitive, with a complex inner ear structure for pinpointing the exact location of their prey. Other dinosaurs would use sound as a form of communication. The hadrosaurs, for example, had a hollow crest on their heads that they could use to produce a wide range of sounds. In a world with a vast number of predators and competitors, this would be a major advantage. They would use sound to warn of danger, to attract mates, and to communicate with their herd. The world would be a place of constant sound, a symphony of roars, whistles, and rumbles. Smell would also be a crucial sense, particularly for predators and scavengers. A new lineage of dinosaurian scavengers would emerge with a highly refined sense of smell for finding dead animals. Their nostrils would be much larger, with a complex set of olfactory bulbs for detecting the faintest scent of decay. They would be the cleanup crew of the Cenozoic, a vital part of the ecosystem that would prevent the spread of disease. Herbivores would also use smell to their advantage. A sauropod, for example, would use its sense of smell to find the best food sources and to avoid plants that were toxic or poisonous. This would be a major advantage in a world with a vast number of new, flowering plants and other flora. The evolution of these specialized senses would be a testament to the incredible adaptability of dinosaurs. They would prove that their reign was not a temporary phase in Earth's history, but a long and patient story of survival in every environment on the planet. Without the KPG extinction event, the dinosaurs' long and uninterrupted reign would have allowed for the development of incredibly complex symbiotic relationships with other forms of life, including flora. These interspecies partnerships, honed over millions of years, would have been a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of competition, but also of cooperation. The most profound symbiotic relationships would have been between dinosaurs and plants. As flowering plants and grasses became more dominant, dinosaurs would have played a crucial role in their spread and diversification. For example, large herbivores like sauropods and hadrosaurs would have been the primary seed dispersers of the Cenozoic. By consuming fruits and other plant matter, they would have carried seeds over vast distances, fertilizing new areas with their waste. This would have created a feedback loop. As the plants became more widespread, they would have supported larger dinosaur populations, which in turn would have dispersed more seeds. We might also see a more direct relationship with certain dinosaur species evolving a reliance on a specific type of plant for their survival. A small dinosaur, for example, might evolve a specialized jaw structure for eating a specific type of fruit or nut. This would be a form of co-evolution, where the plant and the dinosaur evolved together, each one relying on the other for its survival. Another vital symbiotic relationship would be between dinosaurs and the scavengers and decomposers that cleaned up their waste. The immense size of the dinosaurs would have created a constant supply of food for a number of smaller creatures, including insects, birds, and even smaller dinosaurs. These creatures would have played a crucial role in keeping the ecosystem clean and healthy, preventing the spread of disease. We might even see a form of dinosaurian cleaning service, where a specific species of small dinosaur or bird would evolve to clean the teeth and skin of larger, more dominant dinosaurs. A small, bird-like dinosaur, for example, might perch on the back of a sauropod, picking off ticks and other parasites. This would be a mutually beneficial relationship, with the small dinosaur getting a free meal and the large dinosaur getting rid of a nuisance. The most intricate and vital symbiotic relationships would have been on a microscopic level. The gut of a large herbivorous dinosaur would have been a universe of its own, with a vast array of bacteria and other microorganisms that helped to break down tough plant matter. Without these microorganisms, the dinosaurs would not have been able to extract the nutrients they needed to survive. This would be a testament to the fact that the greatest partnerships in nature are often the smallest. Ultimately, the development of these symbiotic relationships would be a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of cooperation. The dinosaurs would have proven that they were not just solitary beasts, but a vital part of a complex and interconnected web of life. In a world without the KPG extinction event, the gradual cooling of the Cenozoic would have led to a more pronounced seasonality. This, in turn, would have triggered a defining feature of the dinosaur-dominated world, the long migration. This would not be a mere local movement, but a massive, transcontinental journey undertaken by millions of herbivorous dinosaurs and their predators, a spectacle of endurance and a vital part of the global ecosystem. For the immense herds of hadrosaurs and sauropods, migration would be a matter of survival. As the seasons changed, their primary food sources, the lush, flowering plants and grasses, would either die off or become dormant. To avoid starvation, they would be forced to follow the sun's warmth and the growth of vegetation, moving from one region to another in a continuous multi-generational journey. This would be a perfect example of a behavior-driven ecological cycle, a phenomenon that would define the Cenozoic. These migrations would be a vital part of the global ecosystem. The dinosaurs, in a sense, would be living landscape engineers. As they moved, they would trample and graze, preventing the overgrowth of dense forests and creating vast, open plains. Their waste, rich in nutrients, would fertilize the soil, supporting the growth of new plant life and ensuring a continuous supply of food for the next migration. This would be a symbiotic relationship on a colossal scale, with the dinosaurs and the flora coexisting in a delicate balance. The scale of these migrations would be immense. Imagine a herd of millions of hadrosaurs stretching for miles there, collective footsteps shaking the ground. They would be followed by a host of other animals, including armored ankylosaurs and horned ceratopsians, all moving together in a colossal, slow-moving wave of life. This would be a spectacle of endurance, a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of cooperation and community. Following these immense herds would be their predators, a new lineage of cursorial, running tyrannosaurids, and other large theropods would emerge, specializing in a nomadic hunting lifestyle. They would not be sedentary creatures, but a constant presence on the Great Migration, preying on the old, the weak, and the young. This would ensure that the herds would remain healthy and strong, a perfect example of natural selection in action. The long migration would also lead to the development of a complex network of dinosaurian highways, well-worn paths created by millions of years of herding and migration. These paths would crisscross continents, connecting ecosystems and providing a glimpse into the vast and complex world of dinosaurian society. Ultimately, the long migration would be a defining feature of the Cenozoic, a living testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and robust stability. The world would be a place of perpetual movement, a living canvas where the great beasts of the past would continue their long and patient journey into the future. In a world without the KP extinction event, the constant, slow-motion rumble of our planet's geology would be a persistent force. Volcanic landscapes would be more than just a destructive spectacle. They'd be a canvas for new life, with dinosaurs and other creatures adapting to and even thriving in these dynamic, often harsh, environments. In our timeline, the massive volcanic eruptions of the Deccan Traps in what is now India contributed to the environmental stress that culminated in the KP extinction. In this alternate reality, these eruptions still occur, but without the asteroid impact, they become a source of slow, long-term environmental change rather than a catalyst for mass death. This would create a unique volcanic landscape with vast plateaus of basalt, acidic soil, and a constant, hazy sky. Life in these regions would have to adapt to a number of challenges, including a toxic atmosphere and a lack of traditional food sources, but as we've seen, dinosaurs are masters of adaptation. A new class of volcano dwellers would emerge with a number of unique adaptations. Dinosaurs in these regions would likely develop a number of physiological adaptations to cope with the harsh conditions. Their respiratory systems would become more efficient, allowing them to breathe in an atmosphere rich in sulfur dioxide and other volcanic gases. Their skin would become thicker and more resilient, protecting them from the heat and acid rain. They would also develop a unique digestive system for consuming the tough, mineral-rich vegetation that would grow in these regions. Behaviorally, they would also adapt. The lack of traditional food sources would force them to become opportunistic, feeders, consuming whatever they could find. Some might even develop a taste for the mineral-rich soil, a behavior known as geophagy. They would also have to be constantly on the move, following the path of the latest lava flow and adapting to new, ever-changing landscapes. A unique food web would emerge in these volcanic regions. The primary food source would be extremophile, bacteria and algae that thrive in hot, acidic environments. These would be consumed by specialized insects and small, burrowing mammals, which in turn would be prey for smaller, more agile dinosaurs. The apex predators of these regions would be a new lineage of volcano-dwelling theropods, with a number of unique adaptations for hunting in the hazy, chaotic landscape. The volcanic landscapes would be a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life. They would show that dinosaurs were not just confined to a single climate or ecosystem, but were capable of thriving in even the most inhospitable environments on the planet. In a world where marine reptiles never went extinct, the deep ocean would be a realm of continued evolution, giving rise to new and bizarre forms of life. Without the KPG extinction, the deep-sea ecosystems would remain dominated by these ancient creatures, which would adapt to the extreme pressures and darkness of the abyss. The deep sea, or mesopelagic zone, where light is scarce and pressure is immense, would be a new frontier for marine reptiles. While the surface dwellers like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs would remain the dominant predators, a new lineage of deep-sea specialists would emerge. These reptiles would not be the streamlined hunters of the surface, but slow-moving, long-limbed creatures with a number of unique adaptations for life in the dark. Their eyes, for example, would become much larger and more sensitive to light, allowing them to detect the faintest glimmer of bioluminescence. Their bodies would become more streamlined and flexible, with long, slender limbs for navigating the dark, pressure-filled abyss. They would also develop a number of unique sensory organs, such as enhanced electroreception, for detecting the bioelectrical fields of their prey. One of the most fascinating adaptations of deep-sea marine reptiles would be the development of bioluminescence. In the perpetual darkness of the abyss, light is a powerful tool for communication, hunting, and defense. These reptiles would evolve light-producing organs on their bodies, which they could use to lure prey, communicate with mates, or even to create a flash of light to startle a predator. This would be a remarkable evolutionary development, a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time and opportunity, it can adapt to and thrive in any environment, no matter how harsh. The bioluminescent displays of these creatures would be a spectacle of their own, a silent, colorful dance in the perpetual darkness of the abyss. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each flash of light a silent testament to the enduring reign of the marine reptiles. The deep-sea ecosystem would also be a world of its own, with its own unique food web. The primary food source for these deep-sea reptiles would be the creatures of the deep, including giant squid and other abyssal creatures. The reptiles would also be prey for a new lineage of colossal sharks, which would evolve to a truly immense size in a world without the competition of large marine mammals. The deep-sea ecosystem would be a living, breathing testament to the resilience of ancient life forms. It would be a world of its own, a unique chapter in the story of a planet where the giants never left, and where the silence of the abyss is filled with the echoes of a long-lost past. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the freshwater systems, rivers, lakes, and deltas would not be dominated by mammals. Instead, they would be home to a new class of freshwater giants, immense dinosaurs and other reptiles that adapted to a life in the water. These creatures would be a living testament to the fact that when a niche is open, a new and often terrifying form will evolve to fill it. In our timeline, the Spinosaurids were a group of theropods that had already begun to adapt to a semi-aquatic lifestyle. Their long, slender snouts and conical teeth were perfect for catching fish. Without the K-Page extinction, this lineage would have continued to evolve, giving rise to an even more specialized class of river-dwelling dinosaurs. These would not be the lumbering giants of the land, but streamlined, powerful predators with a number of unique adaptations for life in the water. Their bodies would be long and serpentine, with a powerful, flattened tail for propulsion. Their forelimbs would be shorter and more paddle-like, and their snouts would be even more slender, with an increased number of teeth for catching fish. They would be the great riverine predators of the Cenozoic, patrolling the murky waters and preying on anything that came to drink. The sound of their footsteps would be a distant rumble, a constant reminder of the unseen terrors that lurked beneath the surface. The crocodilians, which were already highly successful at the end of the Cretaceous, would also continue to thrive in the freshwater systems. The Dinosaurs, a colossal crocodilian that was already a major predator, would give rise to an even larger and more specialized form. These titan crocs would be a terrifying presence in the rivers, using their immense jaws and powerful bodies to ambush and crush even the largest of the dinosaurs that came to drink. They would be a living testament to the fact that ancient body plans can be just as successful as modern ones. The continued reign of these crocodilians would have a profound impact on the evolution of mammals. In our world, the rivers were eventually filled with the ancestors of modern hippos, beavers, and otters. But in this alternate reality, these niches would be permanently occupied by the crocodilians, preventing any large, semi-aquatic mammal from evolving. The freshwater ecosystems would be a world of their own, with a unique food web. The primary food source for these giants would be the fish, amphibians, and other reptiles that lived in the water. These would be prey for a new lineage of giant freshwater-dwelling dinosaurs, which would be in a constant state of competition. With the crocodilians, the rivers would also be a major source of water for the land-based dinosaurs, making them a central hub of the ecosystem. The long migration would pass through these rivers, and the dinosaurs would have to cross them, a perilous journey that would be a major source of food for the riverine predators. The rivers would be a living, breathing testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the concept of a dino mammal would be a fascinating reality. Instead of living in the shadows, some mammalian species would find a way to thrive alongside and in direct relation to dinosaurs, creating a unique and complex coevolutionary dance. One of the most remarkable forms of coevolution would be a symbiotic partnership. We might see a new class of mammals, perhaps a lineage of small, agile creatures, evolving to become the cleanup crew for the immense herbivorous dinosaurs. They would climb onto the backs of sauropods and other large herbivores, feeding on the ticks, mites, and other parasites that would infest their skin. This would be a mutually beneficial relationship, with the mammal getting a free meal and the dinosaur getting rid of a nuisance. This would be a living testament to the fact that when a niche is open, a new and often surprising form will evolve to fill it. This symbiotic partnership would also extend to the carnivores. A small scavenging mammal might evolve to follow, a pack of raptors feeding on the scraps of their kills. In return, the raptors would have a living alarm system, with the mammal's sharp sense of smell and hearing providing a warning of danger. This would be a form of commensalism, where one species benefits and the other is neither harmed nor helped, but it could easily evolve into a mutually beneficial relationship. Another form of coevolution would be the rise of a new class of mammalian stealth hunters. These would not be the lumbering predators of our world, but small, agile, and highly intelligent creatures that would hunt in the shadows. They would specialize in hunting the eggs and young of smaller dinosaur species, using their small size and speed to their advantage. Their primary weapon would be their intelligence. They would be masters of stealth and evasion, using their cunning to outsmart their prey. They would also be highly adaptable, with a number of unique adaptations for hunting in the dark, including enhanced hearing and a keen sense of smell. This would create a new type of evolutionary arms race, with the dinosaurs evolving new ways to protect their young, and the mammals evolving new ways to get to them. This constant back and forth would ensure that neither group would ever fully dominate the other, creating a dynamic yet stable ecosystem. The continued reign of the dinosaurs would also lead to the evolution of a new class of dino mammals that would occupy a unique niche. They would be a form of omnivores feeding on both plant and animal matter, and would be highly adaptable, with a number of unique adaptations for living in a world of giants. They would be small, fast, and agile, with a powerful sense of smell and hearing. Their bodies would be a perfect mix of the traits of a dinosaur and a mammal, a living testament to the fact that when two groups of animals coexist for a long period of time, they can influence each other's evolution in surprising ways. Ultimately, the rise of the dino mammals would be a testament to the incredible resilience of life. They would prove that when one group of animals becomes dominant, it doesn't mean that all other life forms are doomed to live in the shadows. Instead, they can find a way to coexist, and in doing so, create a new, and in some cases, a more complex form of life. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the concept of a dino mammal would be a fascinating reality. Instead of living in the shadows, some mammalian species would find a way to thrive alongside and in direct relation to dinosaurs, creating a unique and complex co-evolutionary dance. One of the most remarkable forms of co-evolution would be a symbiotic partnership. We might see a new class of mammals, perhaps a lineage of small, agile creatures, evolving to become the cleanup crew for the immense herbivorous dinosaurs. They would climb onto the backs of sauropods and other large herbivores, feeding on the ticks, mites, and other parasites that would infest their skin. This would be a mutually beneficial relationship, with the mammal getting a free meal and the dinosaur getting rid of a nuisance. This would be a living testament to the fact that when a niche is open, a new and often surprising form will evolve to fill it. This symbiotic partnership would also extend to the carnivores. A small scavenging mammal might evolve to follow, a pack of raptors feeding on the scraps of their kills. In return, the raptors would have a living alarm system, with the mammal's sharp sense of smell and hearing providing a warning of danger. This would be a form of commensalism, where one species benefits and the other is neither harmed nor helped, but it could easily evolve into a mutually beneficial relationship. Another form of coevolution would be the rise of a new class of mammalian stealth hunters. These would not be the lumbering predators of our world, but small, agile, and highly intelligent creatures that would hunt in the shadows. They would specialize in hunting the eggs and young of smaller dinosaur species, using their small size and speed to their advantage. Their primary weapon would be their intelligence. They would be masters of stealth and evasion, using their cunning to outsmart their prey. They would also be highly adaptable, with a number of unique adaptations for hunting in the dark, including enhanced hearing and a keen sense of smell. This would create a new type of evolutionary arms race, with the dinosaurs evolving new ways to protect their young, and the mammals evolving new ways to get to them. This constant back and forth would ensure that neither group would ever fully dominate the other, creating a dynamic, yet stable, ecosystem. The continued reign of the dinosaurs would also lead to the evolution of a new class of dino mammals that would occupy a unique niche. They would be a form of omnivores feeding on both plant and animal matter, and would be highly adaptable with a number of unique adaptations for living in a world of giants. They would be small, fast and agile, with a powerful sense of smell and hearing. Their bodies would be a perfect mix of the traits of a dinosaur and a mammal, a living testament to the fact that when two groups of animals coexist for a long period of time, they can influence each other's evolution in surprising
con
ways.
mucha agilidad,
Ultimately,
como un tanque
the
muy
rise of the
maniobrable,
dino mammals
con
would be
una
a
buena
testament to the
armadura
incredible
y sobre
resilience
todo
of
una
life.
cornamenta
They would prove
impresionante
that when one
que
group of
llegaría como
animals
hasta aquí.
becomes dominant, it doesn't mean that all other life forms are doomed to live in the shadows. Instead, they can find a way to coexist, and in doing so, create a new, and in some cases, a more complex form of life. In a world without the asteroid impact, the gradual warming of the Cenozoic would likely lead to more frequent and intense natural wildfires. This wouldn't be a catastrophic event, but a persistent environmental pressure that would force dinosaurs and flora to adapt in new, specialized ways, creating a codependent relationship between fire and life. For flora, fire would not be a destructive force, but a necessary part of the life cycle. Some plants, for example, would evolve to become pyrophytes, species that are not only resistant to fire, but also require it to reproduce. These plants would have seeds that are dormant until exposed to intense heat, a perfect adaptation for a world with frequent wildfires. We might also see a new class of fire-resistant plants with thick, insulated bark and waxy leaves that protect them from the heat. These plants would be the first to recolonize a burned-out landscape, creating a new, vibrant ecosystem in a matter of months. This would be a perfect example of a symbiotic relationship, with the plants relying on fire to clear out their competitors and create a new, open landscape. For dinosaurs, fire would be a major environmental pressure, forcing them to adapt in new ways. The most significant adaptation would be behavioral. Many dinosaurs would have to become masters of fire avoidance, using their keen sense of smell to detect the smoke of a fire from miles away. They would also have to be constantly on the move, following the path of the latest fire and adapting to new, ever-changing landscapes. The herbivores would also have a number of unique adaptations. Some might evolve to become fire followers, feeding on the nutrient-rich new growth that would emerge in the wake of a fire. Their teeth would be a perfect mix of grinding and shearing teeth for consuming the tough, fire-resistant plants. Other herbivores might develop a unique way of processing the carbon-rich, fire-resistant vegetation. The carnivores would also adapt. The opportunistic predators would follow the path of a fire, feasting on the small, scurrying creatures that were forced to flee their homes. The larger, more powerful predators would become masters of a new form of hunting, using the fire to their advantage. They might herd their prey into a fire-ravaged landscape where the lack of cover would make them easy to hunt. Ultimately, the adaptations to fire would be a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each flash of fire a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, their appearance would not be the drab, muted tones often depicted in films. With 66 million more years of evolution, their colorations would become more vibrant and complex, serving crucial roles in mating rituals, species recognition, and defense. In a world with intense competition for mates, bright, striking colors would be a major advantage. Male dinosaurs would evolve elaborate display patterns to attract females. For example, a male hadrosaur might have a brightly colored crest on its head, which it could use to create a visual display during a mating ritual. The brighter the crest, the more attractive he would be to a potential mate. This would be a form of sexual selection where certain traits are favored by one sex over the other. The colorations would also be a way for dinosaurs to signal their health and genetic fitness. A dinosaur with bright, vibrant colors would be a clear sign that it is healthy and well-fed, and therefore a good mate. Conversely, a dinosaur with dull, muted colors would be a sign of illness or a lack of resources. This would lead to a constant, evolutionary arms race, with each dinosaur trying to outdo the other with more elaborate and vibrant displays. With a vast number of new dinosaur species evolving, colorations would also play a crucial role in species recognition. A dinosaur with a unique color pattern would be a clear sign that it belongs to a specific species, preventing interbreeding and ensuring that each species remains genetically pure. This would be a form of visual communication, a silent language that would be understood by all. The colorations would also be a way for dinosaurs to communicate with each other. A dinosaur might change its color to signal a warning to a predator or to show a sign of aggression. This would be a form of chromatophore-based communication, a parallel to the way a modern-day chameleon changes its color. This would allow for a more subtle and nuanced form of communication, a far cry from the loud roars and rumbles of their ancestors. Finally, colorations would also be a crucial tool for defense and camouflage. In a world with a vast number of predators, the ability to blend in with the environment would be a major advantage. A dinosaur living in a lush, green jungle might evolve a green and brown coloration to hide from predators. Conversely, a dinosaur living in a snowy Arctic environment might evolve a white coloration to blend in with the snow and ice. This would be a form of crypsis, a perfect adaptation to a world with a wide range of environments. The coloration would also be a way for dinosaurs to startle or warn off a predator. A dinosaur might have a bright, vibrant color on its underside which it could flash at a predator to startle it. This would be a form of aposematism, a clear warning that the dinosaur is either poisonous or dangerous. Ultimately, the colors of the Cenozoic would be a living, breathing testament to the incredible diversity and adaptability of dinosaurs. They would show that dinosaurs were not just brutish beasts, but a complex and beautiful part of a vibrant, interconnected web of life. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the soundscape would be a rich, complex symphony, far from the monotonous roars often portrayed in media. Their continued evolution would lead to a vast array of vocalizations, from deep rumbles to high-pitched chirps, all serving crucial roles in communication, mating, and defense. The largest dinosaurs, such as sauropods, would likely have communicated using infrasound, sounds pitched too low for human ears to detect. These deep rumbles would have traveled for miles through the air and ground, a silent language that would have allowed them to communicate across vast distances. They could have used it to warn of danger, to coordinate herd movements, or to signal their location to other herds. This would be a form of seismic communication, a silent, constant rumble that would have defined the ancient world. The sound of a sauropod would not be a roar, but a low-pitched rumble, a sound that would have been felt more than heard, a constant, low hum that would have echoed through the ground, a silent, constant presence that would have been a part of the daily life of all dinosaurs. The mid-sized dinosaurs would have used a wide range of vocalizations for communication. Hadrosaurs, with their hollow crests, would have produced a vast repertoire of sounds, from a low-pitched moo to a high-pitched trumpet. They would have used these sounds to communicate with their herd, to warn of danger, or to attract mates. The sound of a herd of hadrosaurs would be a living orchestra, a complex symphony of sounds that would have echoed across the vast plains. The predators, such as tyrannosaurids, would have used a combination of roars and bellows to intimidate their prey. but they would also have used a more subtle form of communication, a low growl or a hissing sound to signal their presence to other members of their pack. This would have been a form of pack communication, a silent, complex language that would have allowed them to coordinate a hunt without alerting their prey. Smaller dinosaurs, like the raptors, would have used a wide range of vocalizations for communication. Their chirps and whistles would have been a complex language, a way to convey a vast amount of information to other members of their pack. They would have used it to signal the presence of prey, to coordinate a hunt, or to simply communicate with each other. This would have been a form of dinosaurian language, a complex set of sounds that would have been a living testament to their intelligence. The night would have had its own unique soundtrack. Nocturnal dinosaurs would have used a combination of chirps and whistles to communicate with each other in the darkness. Their sounds would have been a silent, constant presence, a living testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The soundscape of this ancient world would be a symphony of roars, rumbles, chirps, and whistles, a living testament to the incredible diversity and adaptability of dinosaurs. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the constant pressure of competition would drive the evolution of sophisticated pack hunting strategies among carnivorous dinosaurs. This would be a living, breathing chess game with predators and prey constantly evolving new strategies to outsmart each other. The result would be a world of hyper-intelligent, highly coordinated predators, a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of cooperation. Pack hunting was already a known behavior in our timeline. The discovery of fossilized trackways and skeletal remains shows that raptors, in particular, hunted in groups. Without the KPG extinction event, this behavior would become more widespread and complex. The primary driver for this would be the immense size of their prey. A single predator, even a large one, would have a difficult time taking down a colossal hadrosaur or a formidable ceratopsian. But a coordinated pack could use its numbers to their advantage. In this alternate reality, pack hunting would evolve from a simple group effort into a highly specialized hierarchical system. Each member of the pack would have a specific role to play in the hunt. Some would be the flankers, using their speed and agility to herd the prey into a specific location. Others would be the chasers, wearing down the prey with a long, relentless pursuit. And a few, too, would be the kill strikes, using their power and cunning to deliver the final blow. This specialization would require a high level of communication and coordination. The raptors would have to be able to communicate with each other. Using a complex system of vocalizations and body language, they would have to be able to understand the strategy and adapt to the behavior of their prey. This would be a form of dinosaurian language, a silent, complex language that would have been a living testament to their intelligence. The development of these sophisticated hunting strategies
como un tanque muy
would also
maniobrable,
lead to a
con una buena
cognitive arms
armadura
race with their
y sobre todo
prey.
una cornamenta
The herbivores would
impresionante
have
que
to
llegaría
evolve
como
new
hasta aquí.
ways to defend themselves against a coordinated attack. They might form a tight circle around their young, or even use a new form of communication to warn the herd of danger. This constant back and forth would ensure that neither group would ever fully dominate the other, creating a dynamic, yet stable ecosystem. Ultimately, the evolution of pack hunting strategies would be a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each hunt a silent testament to the incredible intelligence and cooperation of the dinosaurs. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the continuous pressure from predatory dinosaurs would drive the evolution of new and elaborate defensive mechanisms in herbivores. This would be a living, breathing arms race, with prey constantly evolving new ways to protect themselves from predators. The result would be a world of armored, venomous, and spiky creatures, a testament to the fact that survival is not just a matter of strength, but of adaptation. The armored dinosaurs, such as the ankylosaurids and the ceratopsians, were already masters of defense. Their thick, bony plates and formidable horns were an effective deterrent against even the largest predators. But in a world where predators were constantly evolving new ways to hunt, their defenses would have to become even more elaborate. Ankylosaurids, for example, might evolve a more flexible and interlocking armor, allowing them to twist and turn, to defend themselves from a pack of predators. Their tail clubs, already a fearsome weapon, might become even more powerful, with a number of razor-sharp spikes for a more lethal strike. The ceratopsians, with their formidable horns and frills, would also evolve new defenses. Their frills, for example, might become more spiky and menacing, a clear warning to any predator that they are not to be trifled with. Their horns might also become more lethal, with a number of razor-sharp edges for a more effective goring. The most surprising and fascinating defense mechanism would be the rise of venomous dinosaurs. While we don't have any evidence of venomous dinosaurs in our timeline, the pressure of a world with a vast number of predators might lead to the evolution of this unique trait. A small, agile herbivore, for example, might evolve a venomous bite as a last-ditch effort to defend itself from a predator. The venom would not be a lethal poison, but a paralytic agent that would temporarily stun the predator, giving the herbivore enough time to escape. This would create a new kind of evolutionary arms race, with the predators evolving new ways to deal with the venom, and the herbivores evolving more potent venom. The world would be a place of both beauty and terror, with each flash of color a clear warning that the dinosaur is not to be trifled with. The largest herbivores, such as the sauropods, would also evolve new defenses. Their immense size was already a major deterrent, but in a world with more organized predators, it would not be enough. They would likely evolve a number of unique defenses, such as a thick, bony skin with a number of spikes and ridges. Their immense size would also be a living fortress for other, smaller dinosaurs, which would live in their shadow, protected from predators. Ultimately, the evolution of these new and elaborate defensive mechanisms would be a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of perpetual struggle and endless innovation, with each defense a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. With the continued reign of dinosaurs, the world would not be a peaceful utopia. Instead, it would be a place of fierce competition between various large dinosaur species for food, territory, and mates. This would be a constant, living struggle, with each species constantly evolving new strategies to outcompete their rivals. The result would be a world of perpetual struggle and endless innovation. The most fundamental struggle would be for food. The immense size of the dinosaurs would require a constant supply of energy, and in a world where food was a limited resource, the competition would be intense. The herbivores, for example, would have to constantly compete for the best food sources. A herd of hadrosaurs and a herd of ceratopsians, for example, might find themselves competing for the same patch of lush, nutrient-rich plants. This would lead to a number of unique behaviors, such as a feeding frenzy, where the dinosaurs would try to consume as much food as possible before their rivals could get to it. The carnivores, on the other hand, would have to compete for the best hunting grounds. A pack of raptors and a family of tyrannosaurids might find themselves in a constant state of conflict, each one trying to assert its dominance over the other. This would lead to a number of unique hunting strategies, such as a territorial hunt, where the carnivores would try to drive their rivals out of their hunting grounds. The struggle for territory would be just as fierce. The dinosaurs would need a safe, secure place to nest, to raise their young, and to feed. This would lead to a constant state of conflict, with each species trying to assert its dominance over the other. The large herbivores, for example, would have to constantly defend their territory from other herds. This would lead to a number of unique defensive behaviors, such as a territorial display, where the dinosaurs would use their size, their coloration, and their vocalizations to intimidate their rivals. The carnivores, on the other hand, would have to constantly defend their hunting grounds from other predators. This would lead to a number of unique behaviors, such as a territorial patrol, where the carnivores would constantly patrol the boundaries of their territory, looking for any signs of an intruder. The sound of their footsteps would be a constant reminder of the unseen terrors that lurked just beyond the horizon. Finally, the competition for mates would be a major struggle. The dinosaurs would have to constantly prove their worth to potential mates, using a number of unique behaviors, such as a mating display, where the dinosaurs would use their size, their coloration, and their vocalizations to attract a mate. This would be a form of sexual selection where certain traits are favored by one sex over the other. The most formidable dinosaurs would also have to engage in a number of unique behaviors to prove their dominance. A male tyrannosaurid, for example, might engage in a mating duel, where he would fight with other males for the right to mate with a female. This would be a living testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both struggle and wonder, with each conflict a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. In a world of colossal dinosaurs, the true foundation of the ecosystem would not be the majestic giants, but the unseen worlds of microscopic life and smaller invertebrates. These tiny, often overlooked creatures would be the engine of the entire colossal system, a living testament to the fact that size is not a measure of importance. The largest dinosaurs would produce an immense amount of waste, and without a dedicated cleanup crew, the world would be a place of perpetual decay. This is where the unseen worlds would play a crucial role. Fungi, bacteria, and a host of smaller invertebrates would act as the planet's primary decomposers, breaking down the waste and recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. This would be a symbiotic relationship on a colossal scale, with the dinosaurs providing the food and the decomposers ensuring that the cycle of life continues. The sound of their work would be a silent hum, a constant, low-pitched rumble that would have been a part of the daily life of all dinosaurs. The world would be a place of perpetual decay and renewal, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the unseen. With the continued dominance of flowering plants, a new and vital partnership would emerge between the flora and the invertebrates. Insects, such as bees, butterflies, and beetles, would act as the planet's primary pollinators, carrying pollen from one flower to another and ensuring that the plants reproduce. This would be a symbiotic relationship on a grand scale, with the insects getting a free meal and the plants getting a new life. The world would be a place of perpetual buzz and flutter, a symphony of sounds that would have been a part of the daily life of all dinosaurs. The sound of their work would be a constant, low hum, a silent, constant presence that would have been a part of the daily life of all dinosaurs. The unseen worlds would also be home to a number of smaller predators. Spiders, scorpions, and other invertebrates would act as a necessary check and balance, preying on the smaller herbivores and decomposers. This would ensure that no one species would ever become too dominant, creating a dynamic yet stable ecosystem. The sound of their work would be a silent, constant presence, a living testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the unseen. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the evolutionary path of our primate ancestors would be fundamentally and tragically altered. The very existence of humanity would be an impossibility. Confined to the shadows, our ancestors would never get the opportunity to evolve into the dominant species of the planet. Our earliest ancestors were small, arboreal, and nocturnal, living in the shadows of dinosaurs. The immense size of the dinosaurs would have prevented them from climbing trees, creating a safe, three-dimensional world in the forest canopy. In our timeline, the extinction of the dinosaurs allowed our ancestors to venture out of the trees and onto the ground, a crucial step in our evolution. But in this alternate reality, that opportunity would never arise. Our ancestors would be forever confined to the trees, their bodies becoming even more specialized for a life in the forest. Their limbs would become longer and more slender for swinging from branch to branch, and their tails would become more prehensile, a perfect adaptation for a life of perpetual evasion. Their food sources would also be a major limiting factor. They would be forced to subsist on fruits, nuts, and insects that were inaccessible to their larger relatives on the ground.
Como un
This
tanque
would
muy
prevent them
maniobrable,
from evolving
con
into
una buena
larger, more
armadura
powerful
y
creatures,
sobre todo
as the
una cornamenta
resources for a
impresionante que
sauropod-sized
llegaría como
primate
hasta aquí.
were already claimed by the sauropods themselves. The evolution of bipedalism, a crucial step in our own evolution, would be a high-risk gamble in a world with dinosaurs. The act of walking upright would expose our ancestors to a number of new predators, and without the ability to flee into the trees, they would be an easy target. The dinosaurs, with their keen sense of smell and their immense speed, would be a constant threat. The most intelligent primates would recognize the danger and would avoid the ground at all costs. This would prevent the evolution of a larger brain and a more complex social structure, as the pressures to evolve were absent. The cognitive evolution of our ancestors would be stunted, leaving them in a state of arrested development. Intelligence, in this context, would be a high-risk gamble. A larger brain requires a lot of energy, and in a world where food is scarce and competition is high, it may not be a worthwhile investment. It's more efficient to be quick and small than to be smart and vulnerable. Ultimately, the lack of a mass extinction means that our ancestors would never have their moment in the sun. The age of man would never begin. Instead, they would be forever relegated to a minor supporting role in a play dominated by the great reptiles. The evolutionary path that led to whales, elephants, and eventually humans would be a dead end, a path not taken. This world is a perpetual late Cretaceous, a living testament to the idea that a single event can be the most important part of a story, and that without it, the history of life can be a very different and much less familiar tale. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the primates would have been forced down a completely different evolutionary path. Their story would be one of perpetual struggle and specialization, leading to creatures that would be a far cry from the human form. Instead of walking upright and dominating the planet, our ancestors would remain small, secretive, and highly adapted to life in the trees. The survival of primates in a dinosaur-dominated world would depend on their ability to live in a niche that was inaccessible to larger predators. The treetops would be their permanent sanctuary. While some dinosaurs could climb, their immense size and weight would prevent them from venturing into the dense upper branches of the forest canopy. This would create a safe, three-dimensional world where primates could live, feed, and raise their young without the constant threat of being hunted. Over millions of years, this arboreal lifestyle would lead to a number of unique adaptations. Their limbs would become longer and more slender for swinging from branch to branch. Their tails would become more prehensile, a crucial tool for a life of constant evasion. Their hands and feet would evolve to have a more powerful grip, allowing them to cling to branches with ease. This would be a perfect example of a primate body plan becoming a master of a single, specialized niche rather than a generalist. The night would also be a crucial niche for primates. While some dinosaurs were active at night, most were diurnal, relying on sight to hunt. Primates, with their high metabolism and warm-blooded nature, were perfectly suited for the cool temperatures and darkness of the night. This allowed them to forage for food and avoid large predators during the day. This nocturnal existence would become a permanent genetic trait for most primates, ensuring that they would forever be the masters of the shadows. Their eyes would become larger and more sensitive to light, allowing them to see in near total darkness. Their hearing and sense of smell would also be greatly enhanced, allowing them to hunt for insects, fruits, and other food sources. This would be a perfect example of how a group of animals, when faced with a constant threat, can adapt to a new, more challenging environment. The most significant impact of this alternate reality on primate evolution would be the stagnation of intelligence. In our world, the need to adapt to a changing environment and fill new niches drove the evolution of larger brains and greater intelligence. But in a world of dinosaurian oppression, these pressures would be absent. Instead, the primary evolutionary pressure would be to not get eaten. Intelligence in this context would be a high-risk gamble. A larger brain requires a lot of energy, and in a world where food is scarce and competition is high, it may not be a worthwhile investment. It's more efficient to be quick and small than to be smart and vulnerable. The cognitive evolution of primates would be stunted, leaving them in a state of arrested development. The evolution of bipedalism and the use of complex tools, crucial steps in our own evolution, would be a dead end, a path not taken. This world would be a living testament to the fact that when one group of animals becomes dominant, it can have a profound and lasting impact on the evolution of all other life forms. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the niche for a bipedal, large-brained hominid like a human would be forever closed. The evolutionary pressures and ecological opportunities that led to our existence would simply not be present, making our rise an impossibility. The human niche is fundamentally based on a number of key traits that were a direct result of the KPG extinction event. Our ancestors were able to evolve into bipedal creatures and move out of the trees because the land was no longer dominated by immense terrestrial predators. In a dinosaurian world, the ground would be a perilous place, a constant threat from immense tyrannosaurids, agile raptors, and other ferocious creatures. The primates that ventured onto the ground would not have the speed or the defenses to survive, and their evolutionary line would be quickly extinguished. Furthermore, the niches for large-brained social omnivores were already filled by the dinosaurs themselves. As we've explored, the raptors would have evolved into a new class of hyper-intelligent predators with complex pack-hunting strategies and rudimentary tool use. Their sheer size and intellect would have made them the dominant life form in this niche, leaving no room for a competing species. The very traits that made us so successful in our world would have been our undoing in this one. The evolution of a large brain and complex social structures was a direct result of the need to adapt to a changing and challenging environment. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, our ancestors would have been forced to remain small, secretive, and highly specialized for a life in the trees. The evolutionary pressures would have been focused on survival and evasion, not on intelligence and social complexity. It's more efficient to be quick and small than to be smart and vulnerable. The lack of an open niche would also prevent the evolution of bipedalism. While bipedalism is an efficient way to travel long distances, it is also a high-risk gamble in a world with dinosaurs. The act of walking upright would expose our ancestors to a number of new predators, and without the ability to flee into the trees, they would be an easy target. The most intelligent primates would recognize the danger and would avoid the ground at all costs. This would prevent the evolution of a larger brain and a more complex social structure, as the pressures to evolve were absent. In this world, the human niche is a luxury that evolution never afforded. It's a living testament to the fact that our existence was not an inevitability, but a happy accident of a cataclysmic event. The age of man, in this alternate reality, would be a story that was never told. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, the KPG event would be seen as a great filter, a crucial barrier that allowed for the rise of complex, intelligent life. Its absence implies a universe where intelligent life is rare, and where the path to it is not an inevitability, but a series of lucky breaks. The Great Filter is a concept that tries to answer the question, where is everybody? It suggests that somewhere on the long path from single-celled organisms to an interstellar civilization, there is a monumental barrier that is extremely difficult for life to overcome. In our timeline, we have successfully passed that filter, and our existence is proof of that. But in this alternate reality, the filter is still there, and it's a living, breathing one, the dinosaurs. In our world, the KPG extinction event wiped out the dinosaurs, creating a vast, empty ecological niche. This allowed for the diversification of mammals and eventually the rise of a bipedal, intelligent primate. Without this event, the dinosaurs would have continued to evolve, filling every ecological niche and preventing any other life form from becoming dominant. The path to an interstellar civilization in this world would be forever closed. The absence of a great filter in this alternate reality implies a universe where intelligent life is extremely rare. In our world, we see ourselves as a product of a long, patient process of evolution. But in this one, our existence would be a happy accident, a result of a cataclysmic event that cleared the path for us. The universe would be seen not as a place of endless possibility, but as a place of infinite emptiness, where the path to an interstellar civilization is a long and lonely one. The dinosaurs in this world would have proven that their reign was not a temporary phase in Earth's history, but a permanent fixture. They would be a living testament to the fact that when a group of animals becomes dominant, it can have a profound and lasting impact on the evolution of all other life forms. The human niche is a luxury that evolution never afforded, a living testament to the fact that our existence was not an inevitability, but a happy accident. The final question in this alternate reality would be whether the dinosaurs themselves would eventually evolve to become an interstellar civilization. The raptors, with their large brains and complex social structures, would be the primary candidates for this. Their intelligence and their ability to cooperate would be a major advantage in the long, patient journey to the stars. But would they ever get there? The answer is a matter of speculation, but one thing is for sure. In this world, the journey to the stars is a lonely one, and it's a journey that our ancestors would never get the chance to take. A world without the KPG extinction event, the future of our planet would not be defined by human civilization. Instead, it would be a world without us, where advanced dinosaurs might fill the role humanity plays in our timeline. This is a future where the story of life is not a story of mammals, but a long, patient story of dinosaurs. In this alternate reality, the raptors, with their large brains and complex social structures,
con
would be
mucha
the
agilidad,
primary candidates
como un
for a
tanque muy
new,
maniobrable,
dominant
con una
intelligence.
buena
Their
armadura
ability to
y sobre
cooperate
todo
and
una
communicate would
cornamenta
be a major
impresionante
advantage
que
in a
llegaría
world
como
of
hasta
fierce
aquí.
competition. Over millions of years, they would likely evolve into a new class of hyper-intelligent predators with a number of unique adaptations for a more complex life. Their brains would grow larger and more complex, allowing for the development of abstract thought and problem solving. They would be capable of rudimentary tool use, with a number of unique behaviors for creating and using tools. They would also develop a new, more complex form of communication, a dinosaurian language that would be a mix of vocalizations, body language, and subtle gestures. This would be a living testament to the fact that intelligence is not unique to mammals. This new civilization would not be a carbon copy of our own. It would be a civilization of reptilian proportions with a number of unique traits that would define it. Their cities would not be made of concrete and steel, but of organic, living materials. They would use their immense size and strength to shape the world around them, creating a new, more natural, and more sustainable form of civilization. Their technology would also be different. Instead of relying on machines, they would rely on biological engineering. They would use their knowledge of genetics to create new forms of life for their own purposes, a living testament to their intelligence and power. This would be a form of biotechnology, a new way of interacting with the world that would be a far cry from our own. The history of this new world would not be a history of wars and conflicts, but a history of cooperation and community. The raptors, with their social structures, would likely be more inclined to work together than to fight. Their civilization would be a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. In a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, they wouldn't just be inhabitants, they'd be master engineers of their own environments. Over millions of years, the collective actions of dominant dinosaur species would fundamentally reshape the planet's landscapes, flora, and even atmospheric composition. This long-term impact would be a living testament to their unparalleled power and a key factor in the long-term stability of the world. The most profound impact would come from the herbivores, particularly the massive sauropods. These immense creatures would act as living bulldozers, their sheer size and voracious appetites creating and maintaining vast, open plains. By constantly consuming vegetation and trampling the ground, they would prevent the overgrowth of dense forests, creating open grasslands and savannas. This would be a symbiotic relationship on a colossal scale, with the dinosaurs creating the very environment they needed to survive. Their waste would also be a crucial part of this engineering. The immense amount of waste produced by a herd of sauropods would act as a powerful fertilizer, enriching the soil and supporting the growth of new plant life. This would create a continuous cycle of life and death, with the dinosaurs and the flora coexisting in a delicate balance. The presence of these immense herbivores would also have a profound impact on the frequency of natural wildfires. By constantly grazing and trampling, they would create vast, open clearings that would act as natural fire breaks, preventing wildfires from spreading and becoming catastrophic. This would allow for a more stable and predictable ecosystem, with a more diverse range of plant and animal life. Conversely, in some regions, the dinosaurs might unintentionally promote fire. If their grazing habits favored the removal of fast-growing fire-resistant plants, it could lead to an accumulation of dead organic matter, creating a more fuel-rich environment. The long-term impact of this would be a matter of constant dynamic change, with each new behavior of the dinosaurs having a profound and lasting impact on the environment. The presence of these immense creatures would also have a profound impact on the physical landscape. Their immense footsteps would compress the soil, creating paths and depressions that would collect water and become new habitats for smaller animals. This would create a network of interconnected ecosystems, with each one a living testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. Ultimately, the long-term impact of the dinosaurs would be a testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. In this alternate reality, where the dinosaurs never went extinct and humans never rose, the universe's greatest mystery would still remain, the enduring resilience and profound mystery of life itself. The story of a dinosaur-dominated Earth would not be a mere sci-fi fantasy, but a compelling testament to the fundamental forces that drive all existence. No matter the dominant species, the same questions would linger. How does life persist against all odds, and what is its ultimate purpose? The resilience of life is a persistent theme. The dinosaurs themselves in this scenario would prove this. They would have endured through countless climate shifts, volcanic eruptions, and even the close call with a cosmic body. Their ability to adapt, evolve, and fill every conceivable niche, from the freezing poles to the scorching deserts, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains, would be a living testament to life's refusal to be extinguished. The very existence of life in these extreme environments would challenge our understanding of what is possible. It would show that life is not a fragile accident, but a robust, tenacious force that finds a way to endure and thrive even in the most inhospitable conditions. This resilience is not just about survival, it's about the capacity for change. Even in a world of perpetual dinosaurian reign, life would not be static. The dinosaurs would be in a constant state of flux, evolving new forms, behaviors, and relationships. They would create new ecosystems, new symbiotic partnerships, and new ways of interacting with the world. The constant struggle for resources, the continuous arms race between predator and prey, the subtle shifts in climate and geography, all of these forces would conspire to ensure that life never stands still. This constant state of evolution would be a beautiful and complex dance, a living, breathing testament to life's ability to create and innovate. Finally, there is the enduring mystery of consciousness and purpose. We, as humans, grapple with these questions, but in a world with a different intelligent life form, the questions would remain. Would the sapient raptors of the Cenozoic ponder their existence? Would they look up at the stars and wonder if they are alone? Would they develop a sense of history, a concept of morality, and a quest for meaning? The answer, in this alternate reality, would be a resounding yes. The evolution of a complex, intelligent life form would be a living testament to the idea that consciousness is not a human anomaly, but a universal possibility. It would show that the drive to understand, to question, and to create is a fundamental part of life itself, regardless of the form it takes. The dinosaurs would be a living, breathing testament to the idea that life is not a destination, but a journey, a persistent mystery that will continue to unfold until the end of time. In this alternate reality, the world would be a living echo of a future that never was. The very absence of our species, of human civilization, of our art, science, and history, would be a silent, profound testament to the difference a single event can make. The world would not be incomplete, but a different story, a different path, a different kind of beauty. Our world, the one we live in, is a product of a series of fortunate events. The KPG extinction in our timeline was the great reset button that allowed mammals to diversify and eventually lead to us. We have built our civilization on the ashes of the dinosaurs, and our entire history is a product of their absence. But in this alternate reality, that path was never taken. The dinosaurs, in their endurance, became the sole masters of the planet. This lost future would be a haunting presence. When you look at the stars, you would not see a future of space travel and colonization. You would see a future where the dinosaurs are the sole masters of the night, a future where the stars are forever out of reach. When you look at the world around you, you would not see a future of cities and technology. You would see a future of vast, open plains, of dense forests, and of a living, breathing landscape that has been shaped by the immense footsteps of giants. The difference a single event can make is almost beyond comprehension. The Chicxulub asteroid in our world was a cataclysmic event that led to the death of millions. But in this alternate reality, its absence was just as profound. It was a silent, peaceful passing that led to a world that is just as full, just as vibrant, but profoundly and beautifully different. The world would be a living testament to the fact that our existence was not an inevitability, but a happy accident of a cataclysmic event. The dinosaurs, in their continued reign, would be a living testament to this profound difference. They would have proven that their reign was not a temporary phase in Earth's history, but a permanent fixture. They would have filled every ecological niche, preventing any other life form from becoming dominant. The world would be a place of perpetual struggle and endless innovation, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. Ultimately, the echoes of a lost future would be a constant, haunting presence. The world would be a living, breathing testament to the fact that when life is given enough time without interruption, it can create a beautiful and complex web of life. The story of life is a story of continuous change. And in a world where the dinosaurs never left, the story would have been no less fascinating, no less complex, and no less beautiful. In this alternate reality, the enduring reign of the dinosaurs would be a living testament to the ongoing and beautiful process of evolution. The story would not be a static picture of a world frozen in time, but a vibrant and dynamic tapestry, with new threads constantly being woven, creating a world of profound complexity and beauty. Evolution is the process of change over time, and it would be the constant, driving force of this dinosaur-dominated world. The dinosaurs, in their continued reign, would be in a constant state of flux, evolving new forms, behaviors, and relationships. They would adapt to new climates, fill new niches, and create new ecosystems.
Con mucha agilidad, como un tanque muy maniobrable, con una buena armadura y sobre todo una cornamenta impresionante que llegaría como hasta aquí.
Conspire to ensure that life never stands still. This constant state of evolution would be a beautiful and complex dance, a living, breathing testament to life's ability to create and innovate. The world would be a place of perpetual struggle and endless innovation. The dinosaurs would be forced to constantly adapt to new challenges, from the emergence of new plant life to the evolution of new predators. This would lead to a number of unique and bizarre forms, a living record of a path not taken. The beauty of this alternate reality would not be a beauty of human creation, but a beauty of natural processes. The world would be a living, breathing canvas with the dinosaurs as the artists. Their immense footsteps would shape the landscape, their grazing would create new ecosystems, and their existence would be a living, breathing testament to the power of nature. The beauty would be a beauty of ecological balance. The constant struggle for resources would ensure that no one species would ever become too dominant. The world would be a place of both terror and wonder, with each new life a silent testament to the enduring reign of the dinosaurs. The story of life is a story of continuous change, and in a world where the dinosaurs never left, the story would have been no less fascinating, no less complex, and no less beautiful. As the journey into this alternate Earth comes to a close, it's time to gently release the thought of towering dinosaurs, unseen life, and lost futures. The world we've just explored, a world of dino-engineered ecosystems, of Arctic survivors, and of sophisticated social structures, is a testament not to what could have been, but to the endless possibilities that lie within the vast, unfolding tapestry of time. Tonight's journey was a contemplation of a simple, hypothetical question, yet it revealed a profound truth about our own world. The path that led to our existence was not an inevitability, but a series of lucky accidents, a dance of cosmic chance and planetary resilience. Our story is just one of many it could have been told. There could have been a world of intelligent dinosaurs, a world of airborne reptiles, or a world ruled by the masters of the deep. Our universe, in its quiet, persistent way, holds infinite potential. As you drift into sleep, take a moment to reflect on the immense scale of what we've just explored. The 66 million years that separate us from the dinosaurs is a span of time almost beyond comprehension, a canvas upon which countless lives have been lived, struggles have been fought, and species have risen and fallen. The very ground you rest on, the air you breathe, and the life that surrounds you are all part of an ancient, ongoing story. Our existence, fleeting as it may be, is a unique and precious chapter in that story. The mysteries of life, its resilience, its beauty, its capacity for creation and destruction, are not just a matter of science, but of a gentle, awe-filled wonder. May your dreams be filled with the silence of a world where a comet missed, the grandeur of a world of giants, and the quiet comfort of knowing that your existence, however it came to be, is a small, vibrant part of a truly ancient and beautiful story. Sleep well, traveler. If you found solace or curiosity in this journey, consider subscribing to the Sleepy Explorer, leaving a like, and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue these explorations into the great unknowns. Until next time, may your rest be deep and your mind alight with gentle dreams.